Hello. Gosh, I'm not supposed to be on live yet, but I've just looked into the studio and I could see there's a lot of you already. Oh my God, there's 43 people already. Bless. So I've got one class. I've got a class at 11 o'clock, 11 till 12 Spanish time. So I will have to go for that, unfortunately, which is really annoying, work getting in the way. Thank you, Rachel, for joining. Thank you so much. Let me just have a look down your comments. Hi, Annie. Hi, Lara. Yes, Lara, I think that's it. I mean, last night, I don't know about the rest of you, I was just exhausted. I was going to do like a summary of everything, a video for people, and I was just exhausted. I absolutely was exhausted. And then I was in contact like with the people that I know that were at the inquest, and they were sending me things, and everything just started getting boggly, you know, in my head and that. So I can't believe how many of you are on here already, because we all feel a little bit strange about yesterday, don't we? Like some of the people that are there for the inquest, they were saying to me they've got more questions now than answers, because you've got 1 minute it's the man in black, and then it's Rebecca saying there's no, you know, they're still not suspecting foul play. You know, it's very confusing, isn't it? So let me say hello to everyone. So I got as far as Lara. Hi, Karen. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Viva Lola. Yes, I did sleep well last night, at least. And I do feel refreshed. Hi, Desi. Yeah, I think I did answer, Desi, to your, I think you put a comment. I had so many comments. I mean, gosh, it just shows the interest, isn't it? I mean, I'm not a big channel. I'm just a small channel. I mean, obviously, my subscribers have grown a lot through this inquest. I mean, the other day I was putting on that I had 1,800 subscribers, and I'm now nearly to 2,000. I know, Rachel, I wish I didn't have to go to work. I've only got 1 hour's class, but I do have to go for that. So let me put on the email. It's I did put it on your comment. Vicky Marie chats. I can't do the aeroba on this computer because for some reason I can't find the sorry, the aeroba is the Spanish word for it. I can't find the at sign on here. So it's Vicky Marie chats at gmail.com. Okay. So again, as I always say, imagine like how we feel. That inquest, it was sort of the inquest so far is quite confusing, isn't it? And so how do our parents feel? Hi, Sarah Tracy. Hi, Dylan. Yes, I think that's true. I think one of the best things that did come out of that yesterday was that she didn't have there was no sign of alcohol. That was a load of rubbish. I don't think for a minute they can say that it was the S word from it. That's one thing as well. So there's no alcohol in the system. There's no way it can be the S word, because I think there's been no evidence provided of that. So that's not going to be a verdict. And yeah, well, this about blood on the chin. I've got so many notes from the people that were there at the inquest, because obviously we were looking at the updates from the Manchester Evening News and the Lancashire Live, etc., and Mark Williams. But there was so many other things that were said that haven't come through on those updates. And I've got all that information. I just haven't had time to sit down and actually go through it. So I think today, obviously is the second day, so it'll all be about the second day, and then I'm going to have to sit down and actually do proper summaries. You know, Rachel, I'm not mentioning other channels. This is a thing that I'm really going to stick to, because the thing is, people mention other channels, then that's like I've got to give an opinion on it, and I don't want to give an opinion on other channels because I don't want to upset people, because I have my opinions on what I like or what I don't like, or what I think is good about it or not good about it, and sometimes I don't agree with what my subscribers and that they like other channels. That's great, but I might not like them for whatever reason, but I don't want to get into a critique of them. Do you see what I mean? I don't want to get drawn into that that drama that sometimes happens with the channels and the back and forth of. So I've decided I don't want any, I won't mention any other channel, because I'm not endorsing any other channel, and I'm not endorsing any other channel. That is, you know, for you to decide whether you like them and watch them. Obviously, you know, I know that you're not going to just watch my channel and that's it, and you're not allowed to watch any others. But on my actual chat, I don't want to see other channels, man, because I don't want a conversation to come up about it where I then, because I've got to say something, I don't want to say anything, I don't want to mention. So we're not mentioning other channels. Yeah, now, Laura, I was thinking about the open verdict, but of course we've still got the misadventure verdict. Yeah, Rachel Pulisicki. I bet there's quite high Mia. Too many off sick in your team, Rachel. Oh, bless. You're going to pop on at lunchtime, wear a headphone. Yeah, can you keep popping to the loo? Hi, Joe H. Hope I haven't forgotten anybody. Let me see. Catch up after lunch. So yes, I know you like these other channels that you like, but please, because I just don't want this. You know, I've seen it happen on the other channels. It's just the back and forth, and that he said this and she said that, and I just don't want to say anything. Then don't get involved in it at all. I overslept by 1 hour. I normally get up at 6 o'clock, Mia, and today I go up at 7 o'clock. But I've had a class. I already did a class, and I've got this one class to do. Where are we? Hi, Phyllis. Hi, Silver Moon Warrior. Hi, Jim. Catherine. Hello. Wendy Woo. Desi, I think I've said hello to. Hi, Port. Gosh, look, you're all on it. So you're all, you're welcome. It was hard work yesterday, but you know what? Went very quickly. It was very interesting. I'm glad that I could sort of see it as it went, you know, and the updates that came through, etc. It was a lot for us all to take in, wasn't it? It was so much for us all to take in. And I mean, it started with a bang, didn't it? With the asphyxiation, then it was drowning, which, you know, are sort of related, obviously. And there was the PC plot saying that, you know, she must have fallen in, but there's no proof that she fell in, and they never searched in the reads. And I'm so angry with them for not searching. He's now saying this is probably what happened. That was basically what he was saying. But did you search? No, we didn't search the reads or whatever, the snag bits, even though now he's saying that he knows it all. But so that was very, very irritating. Hi, Courtney Love. Oh, Courtney Love, yeah. The heat, it's still hot. Hi, David. Hi, Betty. That's me. Melanie. I said hello to myself then. Hi, Tama. Nicola Marie. Hi, yep. You're a TEFL teacher. Watch the body language. Yeah, I've watched the body language. I've done quite a few videos on the. Do you mean the body language in the interviews to do with Nicola's case? I think on the on my channel there are. You know, I've done quite a lot of videos about the body language. Not body language exactly, but you know what they said and what we think about what they said. Yes, now one thing, I've got quite a little bit. It's all right, Rachel, honestly, it doesn't matter. I'm just, the Fitbit, finally we found out where the Fitbit was. So that was strange, wasn't it? You know, that it kept beeping for so long. Now, something I didn't realise, and maybe some of you knew, but you know, when the guy who saw the guy in black, that was Ron. But his name's not Ron, or that's not the name that came up on the. It was Mr. One of the witnesses that came up before Penny was Ron, but he had a different name, and it was him that saw the man in black. So when I do the summary of it, you know, we'll go through all these things. But let me just read out some of the things that they said to me, the people that are actually there. I'll just make sure I've said hello to everyone. David, hi, David. I've said hello to Mia. Marie Kelly, hello. Daniel, hi. Standard Daily Life, hi. Gosh, there are a lot of you here. So hi, Jenny. Just shows the interest in this. My goodness, Dylan. Yes, Ron's name is Roger. So why did we all think his name was Ron? Where did that come from? We've been calling him Ron. So, I mean, it's not funny, but this is hysterical laughter because we've been calling him Ron right from the beginning. And now it turns out his name was Roger. So when they were going through the evidence that was given and they came out this guy called Roger who'd seen the man in black, I didn't know who that was. Yeah, there's a few things that they haven't said. They haven't said, all right, she's obviously died of drowning, but they didn't specify that the water was from the river. There was something else. They didn't specify that the condition of her body was consistent with 23 days in the water. I don't think that question was asked. And then, the guy on Sky News was calling him Ron. That's right, Sarah. He was the reporter on Sky News. He was calling him Ron. That's how where Ron came from. So everyone's been calling Ron ever since, and his name's Roger. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, so at least begins with R. Ron got Roger. Yeah. So, now that interview on Sky News, there was no mention of a man in black, was it? So, yes. So, Joe Ron, but his name actually is Roger. So, one of the witnesses that was called yesterday that we went through his testimony was Ron, but his name's not Ron, it's Roger. So, so much misinformation and confusion, isn't there? So apparently what happened there? So apparently things you might like to know that people have let me know. Apparently Dot and Ernie were were so dignified. That's what impressed them out, because I'm filling up already. How difficult to sit through all that. That's your daughter that they're talking about. So very, very difficult. So yes, Ron was a witness yesterday, but his name is Roger. Whether he's going to be a witness again today, I don't know. Maybe. Right, because I've got to go in about 20 minutes. I just want to, but only for an hour. I'll be gone for an hour and then I'll be back for all the updates. I just want to read out to you some of the things, the observations from the people, that were there, because there's quite a few people that I know that were there. So let's have a look. So the press were on the balcony. So the press were all on the balcony above where the public was sitting, and they had a press room allocated. So whenever there was a break or whatever, they would go into the press room. Morning, Chumba. They would go into the press room, and she says exactly the same thing. And in her message to me, I have more questions. I mean, she was actually there. She's heard every little bit of the testimony from everybody. She said, honestly, I now have more questions than answers. Who is this man in black? I still can't believe we were never told about this man in black, or there was no appeal gone out. And the two screams, or the one scream, sorry, that was heard by the two people, we never knew about before, but they're still insisting no foul play. And she was saying what we saw. Penny was the one who found Willow and tied her up. She wasn't showing signs of distress. She was excitable. And Penny made her appearance on Zoom for some reason, which is strange. And then the other person that I know that's there, or one of the other people that I know who's there, they sent me their notes. Where am I? So they said there were plenty of police there, but only on the corners of the building. There was a police van at the ready round the back, I suppose, just in case there was any, a murder on the roof. So there's someone seen a man in black by the river where the women go and walk their dogs, High Maltese Cross. And it's like, if I lived there, I wouldn't want to be walking my dog there now until they find out who this man in black was. Maybe he was completely innocent. Maybe it was someone just waiting for a lift. Maybe it was Paul Ansell. We don't know. That's the whole point. We don't know who the man in black was. And now they're sort of dismissing. Rebecca Smith said there was nobody suspicious in the area. Well, I think the man in black was a little bit suspicious. But anyway. She said it was all peaceful. There was, as I said, there were police on all corners of the building. There was a police van at the ready round the back and police inside the hall. But it was all peaceful. So the description of the man in black jeans, hoodie and a beanie hat with a round face, round about 6'1", round about 45 years old. This is the description that was given at the inquest. And he was seen by Roger, who is in fact Roger Pike. Now, she's also sent me photos of all the notes. So I've got everything here that was, about the Fitbit. I mean, I know we've got a lot of information, but it's very, very comprehensive notes that she sent me, and I just need to sit down and I can read them fine, but it's just there's a lot of them, so I need to sit down one day. As I say, I will be doing a summary of each one. These are about what was that? So Chris Aiken's saying, if you type Lance Live 2 February Barrowfield into, anyway, we'll have a look at that later. Yeah, it does sound like Paul, but it was someone at the end of the day, whether it was someone, it's someone who's unaccounted for. That's the point. If it wasn't him, it could have been somebody else who did something bad or whatever. It was someone there at the scene that was not accounted for. And the thing is, sorry, I'll take that off now. Thank you again, Rachel, for becoming a member. In fact, I want to say a great big thank you because so many people have subscribed, sent me super chats and things, become members. I appreciate it so much that you're all with me yesterday as well. I think we followed it's sort of the next best thing to be in there, hasn't it? That we've been able to follow it together, talk about it. Yeah, we only had hi Joanne, hi Jane. We had a little, I think we might have had one or two trolls. I only had to actually ban one person, I think. I put someone in the timeout and then they just didn't come back. But I did, the others sort of calmed down. So, yeah, anyone who's here, Phyllis, yeah, your heart breaks. So it's the family. So they've got to get in, well, they'll be arriving there probably now. They've got to face all this again, haven't they? So that's, another day. But I think today we will get, hi Vicky, we will get Paul's testimony today, I think. So as I say, I will have to, I've still got about another 10-15 minutes. I've got a class. Hi Joanne Martin. How was your birthday? Thank you. Gosh, where am I? So yeah, it was the next best thing to actually being there, wasn't it? We went through all the points, we discussed them, we had, we can have discussions without falling out, can't we? At the end of the day, that's the most important thing. If somebody thinks one thing and somebody else thinks another thing, that's fine. That's fine, but we don't call each other. Someone was calling someone a moron or a liar. We don't do that. Not in this chat. We don't do that. We just say, sorry, I don't agree with you. You might think in your head like, oh God, that's a moron. That is all right. But you don't have to actually put it right. Put it in the chat. That's all I would say. Right, I'm going to put that. What did I want to put up? Yeah, so it was like, a couple of people bought me a Ko-fi, thanks. But the most important thing, as you know, is to like. If you like the video, that's the biggest help you can give me, to like, to subscribe. So you had quality time with your children, Joanne. The heavens opened a bit, but it was refreshing as it was a very hot day yesterday. Morning, Millie. Oh, well, last night it looked like because it feels like it's going to storm. It's very sort of muggy and humid. And last night thunder, lightning, all the black clouds. So there's a big panic, bring the washing and getting everything in off because I've got like a roof terrace right up at the top of the house. And, you know, you leave your stuff out there because when the weather's so nice, you don't think it's going to rain. So a big panic, getting everything in. And it rained. It was like pit pat for about 10 minutes. And that was it. It had gone. So it didn't actually materialize. Hi, 411. Are you not working today, or have you managed to? Because it did affect you, didn't it, yesterday? We're just saying we don't feel much further on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get up like the things we've been following, the evening news. I only popped in because really this live stream's not supposed to start till later after my class. But I thought, I'll just pop in to put maybe my email there, etc. And there was 40 odd people there already. So I think, you know, at the end of the day, that's it. We're on now. Now, you know, I'm going to have to go for an hour because I have a class for an hour. I'll only be here, but I will be on the other side of the computer. So what I am going to do is, let's see what we've got on here. Yeah, there's nothing yet coming up because, of course, it hasn't started yet. So it doesn't start till 10. And then it'll take a while, you know, so I don't think I'm going to miss much. And then when I come back, I'll catch up on everything we've missed. Yeah, it's not coming up with the live updates yet because there's no updates yet because it hasn't started. But I'll get everything up ready, and when I come back up, I come back onto the yeah, he's to give evidence today, so let's go on the live on the Lancashire Post. So it's saying her partner's frantic phone calls went unanswered. Because I think he supposedly phoned her maybe 7 times. 6 times. Paul Ansell tried 6 times in 7 minutes to call her phone after the alarm was raised by dog walkers on the banks of the River Wyre. And finally he sent her a WhatsApp message asking, "Have you got lost?" Tragically, all the calls went unanswered because Lancashire's senior coroner, Dr. James Aidley, heard it was likely the 45-year-old mother of 2 had already been swept to her death in the icy waters near St. Michael's. I don't like this. You know, I think there's been a lot of people on saying that they do like cold water swimming, you know, open swimming and things like that. I think the phone calls were before the alarm was raised. I don't think that's what it's saying here, is it? What it's saying here, by the time her partner was alerted at home and tried to make contact, it was more than an hour later. Yeah, her last human interaction was at 9:18 that morning, and it was more than an hour later before he had been alerted at his home in Inskip. So again, I think because it's only close by, I just think this is very similar to where I live. So where we all take the dogs to walk, it's about a 10-minute walk. Very similar. It's about 10-15 minutes walk from my house. So if somebody phoned me from there to say my partner or my son or they'd found our dog, I'd just go straight there. I don't think I'd even try and ring him. But anyway, you know, who knows how you would act. Only because it's so nearby. Obviously, if you were an hour away, you would try and ring first. But if it was literally that close by, you'd just think, oh, I'd just pop over there. Yeah, and so the final thing he sent her, according to this, finally sent her a WhatsApp message asking, have you got lost? Right, I think what can I do? I can leave you, I can put video on. I'm trying to think. I think there's something fishy, but we've got to hear his testimony today, haven't we, and see. The people that I know that are there, they'd be paying close attention to him. One thing that they both said yesterday, or they all said, is there's like 3 people there basically, but one's a couple and one's what they all said was that Louise and Paul did not speak to each other or have any interaction whatsoever. So that's interesting to me. Have they fallen out? Were they already fallen out? I'd like to know. Well, that's perhaps what we'll find out this morning from Paul's testimony. I'm sure that's what the coroner will be trying to establish, is what was the state of their relationship and her state of mind as a consequence. Well, you can look on the man. I'm gonna put yeah, it is a strange message, Bells. Have you got lost? It is a strange message. You know, anyway, you say, oh my God, we're all so worried about you. Please let us know where you are. But maybe, you know, that's what, according to some people, you know, northern people don't get that emotional. What load of rubbish. But yes, what I'm going to do now, if I can present, let me see. I don't know if it will come. I don't know if I have to. I mean, you can go on it, but I can show it. Screen sharing. See, I can put on, let me just make sure you can see it. Yes, so you can see this is the Lancashire Post. Now, if I go on to the bit, where's the live? Yeah, live. The trouble is, obviously, you can't move it up and down from where you are, so I don't know if that will work. Live updates. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be. Now, I'll tell you who's quite good at this is Tamar. So I hope I'm saying that right. But she was quite. I think if you read the chat as it goes along, it's more interesting with me. Thank you, Silver Moon Warrior. That's right. Obviously, anyone, you know, we can follow the news, but it's nice that we're following it together because we get opinions on it then, and we can say things and muse over things. That's the whole point, isn't it, of doing it together? Because it's better to be rather than just looking at that. So I think that Tamar, she was putting up the I'm sure she'll put them up in the chat as things come up, and then you can talk about. I don't think much will come up while I'm not here because, hi Jennifer, it will you know, by the time they get started, you know, 10 o'clock it's supposed to start. It's probably more likely to start more on time today than it did yesterday. But it is more comforting, isn't it, when we've got people to chat with? Yes, when I get back, that's it. I'll be on for the rest of the day. It's just this 1 hour class that I've got, and I just can't cancel it because it's not just one person. It's quite a few people. So I would have had to cancel about 7 people. So I think they'll be late anyway. What I'm going to do is put on my avatar. Yeah. And I will take this off because it'll get on your nerves. It won't move. What am I doing? There you go. Yeah, it won't move that unless I can. Well, I'll always say what I think, and for 11, and it may not. I know some people have got their views, and I know that not everybody will agree with my views one way or another. But I just say how it seems to me. So just before I go, I will let you know how it seems to me so far. It's just as confusing as it was before in a way. I do feel better that we know about the Fitbit. We know the actual witnesses were that saw her, spoke to her, the women that spoke to her in the car park, that were the lady Lucy that was arranging the play date with her. We haven't heard anything from Emma. This is fascinating me. Now, one of the people that were there, they thought Emma was there. But it turned out it wasn't Emma, just someone who looked very much like her. So far, Emma hasn't been there, which just intrigues me because she was so involved in the whole thing. And did she never? I thought she saw Nikki before she went off on her busy routine of the day. So, it's strange, isn't it? So suddenly she's not there. And the part of the inquest, like you're saying about a Fitbit heartbeat, still going until the 4th of February. But I think that's not, I don't think it was a heartbeat that was still going. I think it was just emitting a signal. It's probably until the water got right in. Yeah. Anyway, it's the man in black that does it for me. It's the screams that we'd never heard about before. So maybe she did scream as she was falling. I don't think she fell into the water. I just can't see, and I don't know why they didn't find her. So those mysteries remain. We've just got to see what comes out today, haven't we? Now, I really have got to just love you and leave you briefly, but I'll be keeping an eye on the chat here and there. But obviously I'll be in class, so it'd be difficult. But I hope nothing goes. Nobody's going to be nasty. If anybody's nasty in the chat, just ignore them, because as soon as they come back, I just get rid of him. Hi, Astra. So yeah, have a chat. Have a chat about what happened yesterday. Should I put I don't know if I can put the video on here. Presents. Okay. Up and down and
Okay,
so and then you should be able to see that.
Anyway,
I'm going to leave the video on.
Some information.
This is the video from yesterday afternoon, just so you've got something to watch.
Photo that you can see here,
and I will be back.
that you can see here on your screen.
Okay,
This
I'm leaving
is
you
the
on
photo from outside the county court, or whatever it is, county hall. So the people that I know that are there, this is what the message is,
brandy, whatever. And
I asked that there are a lot of police
very
there
shortly, but
because I just have these sort of visions of people like trying to storm the building or whatever. I don't know. I've always, but my son tells me I'm dramatic. I probably am. But anyway, no, this is very tranquil scene. There's not loads of people hanging around. Hi all. So actually, let me say hello to everyone again. Hi, Princess. Hi, Simple Life Dates. Hi, Silver Moon Warrior. Hope you enjoyed your bike ride. You might, like someone just said, you might well need another bike ride after the end of this inquest. Hi, Angela B. Yes, the pathologist should know if they bruise it, but she didn't mention that, or I couldn't see that she did. Hi, Desi again. Hi, Trish. Hi, Seahorse Crazy. Thank you, Heather, for the coffee. Heather bought me a coffee. I don't know if she's here on chat. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Catherine. Hi, Sarah. Yeah, thank God for dogs. Dogs always cheer you up, don't they? Hi, Foundry. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Desi. Hi, another Rachel. Trish. Desi, I might have said hello to Desi already. Sorry if I have already. There was somebody, Phyllis. Hi, Phyllis. So, hi all. Thank you for coming back. Sorry, the dog barking. Hi, Annie. Shh. Hi, Annie. Hi, Marie. Hi, Pauline again. Hi, Wendy again. Mia. Hi, Heather. Oh, thank you. Yeah, all hit the like if you don't mind. That would be great. So yeah, this is the scene, or this was the scene at lunchtime. Very quiet, very tranquil. And my chatter, hi Tootie Bird. I love the names that come up on it. Great, aren't they? This is the message that my chatters who are there have sent me, the messages they've sent me. So, so I'd asked, are there a lot of police and people hanging around? And she said, no, there's just 2 police at the end of the street, which you can see there. So that literally is the scene, or was the scene at lunchtime. She said there's a couple of security at the entrance and the reporters were coming out to report. She said they've been told to go back at 1:45, so they will be back in there now, but I don't think, no, it hasn't started again yet, or there's nothing coming up, any information. So she said, I've got to be back at, hi Samantha, hi RM42. Thank you, Phyllis, for saying I look beautiful. Thank you. Hi, Trish. I've got to be back in there at 1:45. Now, I know you'll be interested in this, so listen up here. A lot of people have been asking about this. Emma is a witness. She's there and she's sat near Ron. So looks like we might hear from Emma or Ron today. Now, Sue, Ernie and Louise. Who's Sue? Louise. I think she means Nicola's mum, Dot, not Sue. So Sue, Ernie and Louise, but I think by Sue she means Dot. She's got a name wrong. Are sat together. Louise is sat next to Paul, but they have not spoken or even acknowledged each other from what I've seen. So that was a question that when I sent my list of questions off, that's what I was very interested in knowing, is what is the relationship between Dot and Ernie and Louise and Paul? And they haven't even acknowledged each other. So it sounds like you've got Dot and Ernie, then Louise, then Paul, and they're all sat together because that's where the family is sitting. But Paul and Louise have not acknowledged each other, or Paul and the rest of the family have not acknowledged each other. So that's interesting, isn't it? That's what I'm very intrigued with, is what is their family relationship? You know, what is their I think there's a division there in that family. And no, Vicky, it doesn't seem like anybody's there for Paul's support. But we don't know. There may be in the gallery there are people. But so let me tell you what else she says. There's only about 31 general public people there. Only round about 31 people there. It's very quiet. You know, there was supposed to be a capacity, weren't there? 70 capacity. But no, they're not. There was only maybe some people can't get there. Maybe some people will be there for the afternoon session, or maybe they can't get there for today, or they'll be there tomorrow. But well, Catherine, we've read that it's 16 today and 4 tomorrow, but you know, we'll see. She said there's only 31 of the general public there. It's very quiet. There's some bad microphone quality, so sometimes I can't catch what's being said. So she said so far we've had a police diving expert, the pathologist, and some other man who I didn't catch his occupation. That'll be the self-proclaimed world leading expert in drowning deaths that we were talking about. And she says it started an hour late. So he said, the coroner said, they'll be finished about 5 o'clock because it didn't get started till 11. And they've obviously got no RM42. This lady, she's actually there. The press is separate. The press is separate. There's only about 31 public there. She's actually there, and she sits in. There's literally, it's so quiet. From what they were expecting, there's only about 30 public people in there. But there might be more this afternoon. As I say, some people maybe just couldn't get there in the morning, or can't get there till tomorrow. But I think it's interesting. For me, the most interesting thing is that Paul and Louise haven't even spoken or acknowledged each other. And I think there is a division in that family. At the end of the day, we don't know. We're going to wait and see what happens. We don't know foul play. It seems like they're saying there was no foul play, but we don't know if she was pushed in the river. But whatever is going on, there's something gone on there, hasn't there? I think between, the relationship between Nikki, as her family have asked for it to be called, Nikki and Paul, doesn't seem it's very good, a very good relationship. And it could be, maybe they said that there were 70 places, maybe they only gave 40 places out or whatever, you just don't know. So, is that who's speaking now? So has it come, Lorna? Is that what's happening now? It's still saying adjourned on my thing. It's still coming up on here. Oh, hang on. Is it going to change? No, it's still saying it's adjourned. So, Essex Boy Outlaw. Lorna Denison Wilkins. What is she? Is she coming up as a witness? An honours graduate in criminology and a serving police officer in the British Police Service. Is that who's going to be speaking now? Right, I need to get myself set up for when it all comes on again. Oh, hi Maggie, thank you so much for joining and becoming a member. Thank you so much. I'm trying to get this underway again. Hi Sarah. So according to Mark Williams, Thomas, come on, where's the Manchester Evening News with our updates, because they've been quite good. It looks like they've not finished their lunch yet. Come on. Let me just get this sorted out. What do I do here? I'm trying to... Oh well, never mind. What does it mean? Anyway, right. Let's come on, Manchester News. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go to Mark Williams, Thomas, or whatever, and get his view on things. So, but that's interesting, isn't it? So the interesting things for me is it's a lot quieter than it was expected to be. I was seriously worrying about it, thinking, oh my God, are all these people going to turn up and it's all going to turn out to be very, sort of unfortunate, like for the family, etc. But it seems like that hasn't happened, and it's very quiet actually in the county hall as well. So I'll find out more later because they'll have had to go back in now, so they won't be able to let me know anything now till later on. Let's have a quick recap then while we're waiting for updates. So basically, we've been told that the cause of death was asphyxia, but it was drowning. There were bruises, but there was no foul play. There was something interesting that Mark Thomas, had said as well. you know, the police guy seems to think that she did go in at the bench, but of course they did not search all those snag places that he came up with later when they went back and searched, because the coroner asked them to go back on the day at the time, even though they believed ostensibly that Nicola had gone into the river. They didn't search the snag areas, the areas where a body could snag onto. So it can't be their fault that they didn't find the body, because they didn't bother searching in the first place. And then they mentioned the fire department, didn't they, and said that they had searched. So if the body wasn't found, it's their fault, or Peter Folding, it's not their fault, because they just didn't bother doing it anyway. That's basically how it came up, wasn't it? Oh, come on. Still showing inquestors being adjourned for lunch. I might have to find... I'm going to have to go on to something else. So we'll stick with what's his face then, because at least he's given us information. Okay, so according to Mark Williams Thomas then, he's saying the police search advisor she's given evidence, having done a PhD of body movement in water, buoyancy in clothing briefly, but once expelled, she would have sunk. Experts said this morning cold shock would have caused almost instant death, or within 30 seconds. So this new expert is saying that there would have been a brief buoyancy from the clothing, but that once that was expelled, she would have sunk. And that's generally what's been said, isn't it? That if a body goes into the water, or well, not body goes into the water, but if a person goes into the water, finally it's come up, inquest resumes. Good, because I do like these updates. I think they've been very good. We are now hearing from former police dive supervisor, Sergeant Lorna Dennison-Wilkins. Sergeant Dennison-Wilkins received a doctorate after completing a thesis relating to human body movements in inland waterways. She is an expert on what happens to a body after a person dies by drowning. So she says that although the clothing Nikki was wearing would have given some initial buoyancy, the air bubbles would have been removed by movement and Nikki's body would have sunk. The sergeant agrees that people can drown in relatively shallow water if the temperature is cold. And she says that 44% of fatalities in water occur when someone had no intention of entering the water, i.e. if they fell in accidentally. Well, that's fair enough. That sounds likely. It's just, you know, how do you prove that she fell in accidentally? This is my thing. Didn't the other guy say she would float? The police expert, he said she would float. And now this lady's saying, which is what we had thought, that when people drown, they go straight down to the bottom. And it all comes back to the same thing. Why was she not found? You know, that's it as far as I'm concerned. And for any of you, no, there was no water, there was no alcohol, Silver Moon Warrior, that she had no alcohol in her blood. No. So she definitely, hi Beverly, no, it's not looking brilliant, but we've still got a long way to go. You know, Nick, that makes sense. I wonder if that's what happened, that a lot of the St. Michael's villagers applied for the public seats, because I think the way they decided who got the seats, it must be locality. because anyone I know who was awarded a seat was in, well, certainly in the Lancashire area, but anyway. So yeah, no, there was no alcohol whatsoever in her system. Okay. So that is not disputed. So yeah, the policeman said that she would float, and now this expert is saying that she would sink. So okay, let's see. Well, we'll just wait until all the experts come out, I suppose. I was something I wanted to look for then, because I was thinking, right, first of all, I want to try and take this comment off. I don't know why. There you go. It's gone. I only wanted to put it up for a while. I didn't want it to be put there forever. So let's see if there's any update, because if not, I'm going to look, see if I can. Right, let's have a look at this. So Dr. Adley, the coroner, has described Nikki as a holiday swimmer. Right. He asks, what would it be like to try and swim against a water? Yeah, well, obviously she wasn't a professional swimmer. What does it mean by a holiday swimmer? Anyway, he asks what it would be like to try and swim against a water speed of, now I hate these abbreviations because I don't know where it is. 1m/s. What's that? What water speed is that? I haven't got a clue what that means. And Sergeant Denison Wilkins replied, it would be almost impossible to swim against the current. You'd have to go with the current and find a place of safety. You know, and I think that makes sense, but there wasn't a current, of course, on that day. But anyway, let's suppose there was a current and you found that you'd sort of just go like that, and you'd hope that it would sort of throw you somewhere. You know, you try and keep your head upwards, wouldn't you? I'm just sort of visualizing it happening if the worst had happened. Who was telling us? Was it? I don't know if Vicky's back on here yet, but somebody was telling. It was Vicky, wasn't it? They were saying that she'd gone into Loch Lomond and managed to get out, even though she'd been in there for 30 minutes. I'm just be interested to ask her what she did, because I suppose what you should do is just try and just lie there, and if there was a current, it would take you, and you would hope that it would take you up against somewhere that you could grab hold of. But then before they said that those other experts said she could have been dead within 30 seconds. So, but there's nothing here. So put it this way, there's nothing here so far that tells me, what definitely happened. It's all conjecture. It's still all conjecture. I need to put this, let me stop screen. I'm going to put up what I'm following so you can see it when I, because I'm following the Manchester Evening News updates, which seem to be quite good. Oh, so Vicky's here. Yeah, I couldn't speak. I was trying to tell my son not to jump in, and I couldn't, but it didn't kill me. I'm still here. Yeah, it's very, makes you wonder. I don't say nothing that's been said so far to me. They could call themselves what experts they want. Is anything that's been said so far not conjecture? Where are the facts? The only facts that we've heard so far is that she died, according to the forensic pathologist, she died of drowning. That's what it. So that's a fact. Okay, you can say she's examined her. That's what she said. But all these other things about maybe she slipped down the bank, or maybe she couldn't get a breath, or maybe she couldn't stand up, or maybe this. That is all total conjecture. There's nothing to prove that she fell in the water or any of it. So, that is definitely not proof. And for any of you who missed it, no, Jim, they haven't explained how she went over the weir or anything like that. So nobody explains a lot. Nobody explains a lot. Nobody knows what. So this is what the whole point of this is, to try and establish the facts. Nobody so far has explained to me anything. We all know what we think might have happened, you know, including me. It's all what we think. The whole point of the inquest is to try and establish the facts. And what I'm trying to say is that apart from the fact that they've established she died of drowning, there is nothing to prove anything else, is there? You know, has anybody, you know, actually proven anything yet to our satisfaction or to anyone's satisfaction? I don't think so. Everybody's saying what they think might have happened just the same. All right, now this will be interesting. So this is what I'm very interested in, the actual timeline, who saw her last, etc. So the next Miss Bulley was her normal self on the school run. Oh, and just to remind people, Emma is there to give evidence. She sat next to Ron. And the people I know that are there at the inquest said that Paul is sat next to Louise, but they have not spoken to each other or even acknowledged each other. So Miss Bulley was her normal self on the school run. The next witness is Kay King, a member of the public who was in the area of the River Wire where Nikki went missing. She is one of the last people to see her alive. Right, okay. Now, I didn't know about this person. Well, anyway, let's see. Miss King is a receptionist at a veterinary surgery. She dropped her children off at St. Michael's on Wire primary school when she saw Nikki. She said that Nikki seemed her normal self and she didn't appear anxious or low in mood. She had the dog Willow with her and Willow was sat in the back of the car. Miss King said they said morning to each other and then started talking about dogs. I presume she was going for a walk because that's what she normally does in the morning after the school run. She said Nikki told her about going to buy dog food the week before and said, oh, I can't believe she's classed as a senior, after telling Miss King that Willow was age 7. Yeah, seniors. He was a senior. I didn't realise actually that Willow was 7. So yeah, for some dogs that, you know, that's quite old. Depends on the dog. I had a dog that lived to 20, a little dog. Little dogs tend to live longer, don't they? I mean, not a Willow's a massive dog, but I had 2 dogs, one that lived to 20 and one that lived to 17. The German Shepherd we've got now, you know, we don't even like to think about it, but they don't tend to live. But yeah, so they're a senior. That's like it for a person when people, you know, you go from middle age to elderly, you know, because you talk about, I've seen it on the news, it's about elderly woman, 50 or whatever. You know, it's all relative, isn't it, and how people look at it. So, see, so that to me is proper evidence. So she saw her. So she did take her children to the school. She spoke to this lady, Kay King. And so that is something that to me is concrete, which really, apart from the forensic pathology's testimony of the actual causes of death, etc., and, you know, the condition of the body, etc. This is the first thing that I've seen that is actually properly saying about something that actually happened. So she was there. She was at the school, okay? She was at the school. They said good morning to each other and they started talking about dogs. So I think we can assume that that witness, being a receptionist at the surgery and a mum who takes her children to the school and has seen Nikki before, can be relied upon for being an accurate sighting. And in fact, I just need to note that down because I'm trying to note that that is literally the first thing that I've seen that I thought, right, that's definite. It's all right, the police saying and the experts saying that this might have happened and that might have happened. But that's no different, really, whether they're experts or not. It's not really much different from me saying that might have happened. Whereas that is a witness testimony that, you know, you've got to assume is genuine. So I'm wondering if this is what's going to happen now, that the witnesses are going to come out for that timeline. This would be where Ron would come in, isn't it? And Emma. So we may have Emma shortly. So remember, we've got to get through probably So we've had 2 witnesses so far. We've still got probably another. Right, here's the guy that saw Nikki from a distance. So 14. So we've had that Kay King. That was a very short testimony, and now at 14:26, we've got a statement from a man who saw Miss Bulley from a distance. Richard Fife was walking his dog on the fields close to where Nikki was last seen. The inquest heard. He says he knew her to say hello to, as they often saw each other while out walking. Between 9:10 and 9:20 a.m., he says he saw Nikki from a distance. And this is the key thing, isn't it? From a distance. So what time did Kay see her? Now, see this here, where it's coming to the, well, I haven't got it, maybe it will come up later. When Kay King was giving her testimony, she's saying that she dropped her children off and spoke to Nikki. Where's the time? Where's the time that happened? No time. Whereas the guy, when he saw her, so that's between 9:10 and 9:20, he saw her from a distance. So she was on that work call then, wasn't it? Because the work call started at 9:01. So he says he saw her from a distance. Okay, let's see what Mark Thomas, what's the call it's got to say about that. Do you see what I'm saying? Why is there no time of when that witness saw her at the school? So imagine if the witness saw her at the school at 8:30, and then Richard Fife saw her at 9:10. Then we'd be thinking, right, there's 40 minutes that's missing. Or did the witness at the school see her at 9 o'clock? I would imagine we have to look back through all this. What was the time that Paul said she left? Normally, or certainly when I was taking my son to school, you're normally at the school for 10:09, aren't you? Maybe there'll be days where you'll be late, but I think generally you try to get there, with no offense to children, but sometimes you just can't wait to get them there because you've probably got a day's work lined up, or you've got things that you've got to get on, and you just want to get them there. And it's all a bit chaotic, isn't it, in the morning? Let's see what he says. What? Please search advisor. Right, so Mark Williams Thomas is saying a witness who knew Nicola Bulley on the morning he was walking his dog about 8:50 past. This is what's coming up now. So this same witness, Mr. Fife, Richard Fife, says he saw a male he referred to as a man in black as he walked towards where he saw Nikki and assumed he was waiting for a lift. God, this is Emma, isn't it? This is Emma. Mr. Fife says he then saw him again on his way back. He was dressed all in black and possibly a beanie hat. Remember that weird interview with Emma when she had that cap on pulled right down over her head? And he's 6'1" tall. Oh, well, was it Paul then? He was dressed all in black and possibly a beanie hat. And Mr. Fife thought it was strange he was still there. Because the thing is, in these small villages, people notice strangers. He goes that walk probably every day, sees Nikki, or, you don't take much notice, do you? And then he's seen this guy, the man in black who he didn't know, assumed he was meeting for a lift. And then he says he saw him again on his way back, and he thought it was strange he was still there. He was about 6'1" tall. Mr. Fife says he then got in his car and drove off. When he drove past where the man had been, he was gone. After hearing Nikki had gone missing, Mr. Fife says he reported his sighting of the man in black to police. Now that is a key event, isn't it? Did we know about them? I think that's the first time I've ever heard of the man in black. Had anyone? Let's have a look. I'm going to have a look at the chat. Had you heard of the man in black? Had any of you heard of the man in black? Mitchie, I've never heard of the man in black before. So where's this come from? I'm just looking, Yeah, who's this man in black? It's new, I think. I've never heard of the man in black. Foundry, you've not? No. And all of us on here, we've really followed this case, and this is the first time this has been mentioned. Okay, let's go back and see if that's very interesting. So about 6 foot 1 inches tall, a beanie hat. A beanie hat, that's like a baseball cap, is it? Is that what a beanie hat is? Very odd. So this dog walker saw the man in black walk towards where he had seen Miss Bulley, and he assumed he was waiting for a lift, and then he saw him again on his way back. He was dressed all in black and possibly a beanie hat. He was about 6 foot 1 inches tall. Mr. Fife got in his car and drove off, and when he drove past where the man had been, he was gone. Gosh, gets curiouser and curiouser, doesn't it? So who was the man in black? Right, next witness. So sales executive Claire Cheshire is the next witness. Miss Cheshire says she saw Nikki at around 8:40 as both mums dropped off their children at school. And that's what I was saying. I think you tend to drop your children off a little bit before 9, don't you? You know, if they're due to start school at 9, you tend to be there, well, at least by 10 to. And she's saying now, Claire Cheshire's saying that she saw Nikki at 8:40. So it seems like it was actually Nikki she saw, because she said, as Nikki would always do, she bent down and stroked my dog, smiling, at the same time as walking along in the direction of Garstang Road, which was very normal behaviour. Miss Cheshire says she would often see Nikki out, as the two regularly took their dogs on similar walk routes. She later saw Nikki and Willow again, approaching the gap between the two fields. She could see Nikki in the corner of the lower field, the inquest is told. So she's saying that she saw her there, actually saw Nikki there in the corner of the lower field. And I mean, did she see her from a distance? I mean, how close? She obviously did see her at the school because she bent down and stroked her dog, smiling. And then she's gone off to, she said she later saw them again approaching the gap between the two fields. She could see Nikki in the corner of the lower field. Gosh, I mean, it's interesting. I'm still sort of wondering about this man in black. I wonder, look, they flagged that up as a key event. I mean, that really is a key event. Man in black walked towards where he saw Miss Bulley. I mean, you know, if any of you have got dogs, I'm sure you feel the same as me. When I'm out in the campo walking the dog, and if I see people with dogs, I don't really, you know, even if it's a guy on his own with a dog, if they've got their dogs, that's what they're doing. But if I see a guy, sorry guys, but it's just the way it is. If you see a guy and they don't have a dog with them, and they're in a place where people normally walk their dogs, you think, why are you here without a dog? You know, that you do notice it. You know, that has happened. It did happen to me once many years ago. Exactly that. I heard a guy is whistling, and I've turned around thinking he's whistling his dog. Look round, there's no dog, and this guy is actually exposing himself in a tree over the other side of the field. And it was absolutely terrifying experience. As soon as you just heart drops because you're just thinking, oh my God, I'm in the middle of this sort of, it's like a field with a bit of woodland. This guy's there doing that, and you're just like, what freeze? You just freeze. You know, there's a lot of things you think you'll do, but you do freeze. You don't know what to do. But it's suspicious. It is suspicious to see a man walking without a dog in a spot where people walk dogs. What else is he doing there? So the other guy, the witness, said he thought he was waiting for a lift. Mr. Fife says he saw a male he referred to as a man in black, and he assumed he was waiting for a lift. And where had he seen Nicky? Why would he think he was waiting for a lift on the fields? Oh. Yeah, I need to have a good look at this after as well. That's very worrying, isn't it, this man in black? But there were no appeals for this man in black. Do you know when normally, like if there's an inquiry going on and there might be some CCTV and there's somebody, be it a man or a woman, then the police will say, we want to find this person to eliminate them from our inquiries, don't they? That's what they say. They say, if you are this man in black, because obviously the man in black, he could be someone completely innocent and nothing to do with anything. He could have just been waiting for a lift. But there was never any appeal made where the police said, we're searching for a particular person who was seen as a man. Well, I didn't see it anyway. And then that person would, if they were innocent, would come forward when they say, oh, I was that man in black. I was waiting for my friend to pick me up to go to work, or I was blah, 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 blah. But this is just a sudden thing, isn't it, that we're just suddenly being told about, and there was no appeal, as far as I know. All those press conferences, and they never mentioned the man in black. Now, right, I've got to come on to chat now to see what, don't you think it's strange? The man in black, no, they never appealed for him. Well, unless he appears now as a witness, maybe he'll come forward and he'll say, I'm the man in black. But Mia, that's exactly what I was thinking. Paul Ansell is about 6 foot. Why would the police in one of those police conferences not saying, there's someone that we think might be a witness or might know something, we're looking for the man in black? It seemed like that's what I was thinking. Why would he, if Mr. Fife saw Nicola in the field, why would the man in black be getting a lift in the field? This is a very key thing, isn't it? Man in black, about 6'1". What do we think? That's sounds like. It's like I'm gone speechless again. This is about the 4th time I've been speechless during this. It takes a lot to make me speechless. Probably a lot of you thinking that. Thank God you've shut up, because I am like a bit speechless. Anyway, let's go back. See, my voice is going on again. 6'1", and the man in black that nobody's ever told us about before. Okay, now we've got, oh no, so this is Miss Cheshire again. Willow was running up and down the banking, just having a lovely run and play. Miss Cheshire was asked what Nicky and Willow were doing. She says, it looked absolutely idyllic. From having a younger dog pulling on a long lead, I looked up and my thoughts were, that's where I want to be with my dog. She was walking along and Willow was running up and down the banking, just having a lovely run and play around the field. Miss Cheshire said that other than Penny, who owns a caravan park next to the river, she didn't see anyone else. So she didn't see the man in black, other than one dog walker much further down. I did not see anyone enter, she says. Miss Cheshire says she left the field at around 9:15 a.m. 9:15 a.m. and was captured on nearby CCTV at 9:18 a.m. And what time did your man say? Right, so Nick Fife, who between 9:10 and 9:20 saw Nikki from a distance, saw the man in black as he walked towards Nikki and again as he walked back. Oof. And then she says, so she left at 9:15. Okay, but she did not see the man in black. Yeah. So she left the field at 9:15, was captured on the CCTV at 9:18. So it's around about the same time that Richard Fife was there too, but she didn't see the man in black. Dressed on. Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes when they say, oh, you know, he said they were about 6'1", but you know, sometimes you get that completely wrong. You can't, you know, witness testimony. Sometimes you can't, you know, be sure. He might, if it was from a distance. God. Right. Okay. Well, that's very interesting, isn't it? Very, very interesting. So she did not. So Claire Cheshire did not see Mr. Fife, who saw the man in black. She says she only saw Penny, why was Penny doesn't have a dog, does she? So why was Penny actually there? She didn't see anyone else other than one dog walker much further down. So Miss Cheshire did not see Mr. Fife, whereas Mr. Fife says he was there and he saw the man in black. Good God. It just gets curiouser and curiouser, this case, doesn't it? Oh, and that's the other thing, Nicola Marie. Yeah, all those people about, and nobody saw her fall in or saw her body float, as the policeman said he thought that she would have floated. Yeah. The thing is, I think the witness statements in general, CMAC, I think they are very vague. Penny does have dogs, does she? Right, okay. You know, I've said a while ago on a video that I did many years ago, my nephew and his friends went off to play in a reservoir up in Manchester, near where we lived, and they went off and they didn't come back. And we were panicking, me and my sister, we phoned the police, and they asked like what he was wearing when he went off on this day out with his mates, and we came out with this description of what he was wearing, and then literally as the police were actually there, that he turned up and he'd just been sort of messing about and whatever, and he was, thank God he was safe. But you know, when you know someone's safe and then you get annoyed with him because it made you worry. But he didn't have anything on that we'd said he had on. He was completely dressed differently. We just totally, you know, people forget, you know, or you just get an idea in your head. Yeah, the man in black has thrown a spanner in the works. It has sort of clouded the waters, hasn't it? And well, we see there'll be more testimony to come out yet. So we've got a man in black now that we never even knew existed. That suddenly does. A man in black. Yeah, I thought Maggie, the grandson, looked much shorter than 6 foot. The grandson, you won't look at him and your first description of him would be he's tall. Would you? I mean, he doesn't look tall, but I mean, of course, it's difficult to It's difficult to say. I just want to make this point about Angela Fletcher. I think Essex Boys Out. Whoever was saying they were Angela Fletcher, the comments that they were putting on my channel, it just got more and more. I mean, they were horrible. Stop it! They were horrible comments. Like, really, they're just like, I mean, like vile, like comments. So that's why, and I ended up removing. You know, there's some real sort of serious mental illness there with the things that were being said. I mean, there were horrible comments. So that's all I would say about that. So I don't know if who Angela Fletcher was, but the comments was real disturbed mind comments. Okay, let's go back, see if we've had any more. Right, the play dates. Oh, I mean, it is good to get these clarifications, isn't it? Because these are the things that we've not had. These are like obvious things that I just think they could have been made clear, really. Miss Bulley had been arranging a play date for her daughter. And of course, don't forget, there was a lot of conjecture again. Who was the play date with? Was it with Emma? But apparently not. So we're now hearing from Lucy, a waitress, who had been texting Nikki to arrange a play date between their two daughters. Nikki had texted Lucy the night before she went missing. Excuse me. But Lucy only saw the text on the Friday morning, the inquest is told. Lucy replied at 8:13 a.m. and she said, I said my daughter would love to come and play. At 8:59 a.m., Nikki replied, confirming the time and used a smiley face emoji. I think from all this, we can gather that the S is not going to be the verdict here. That it's just impossible to prove that as a verdict, to class that as a verdict. With all this, even that we've seen so far, I think the coroner definitely would not be able to decide that. Lucy and Nikki were also due to meet up the following day to get, of course, we haven't heard the doctor's testimony and things yet, but we'll see. Lucy and Nikki were also due to meet up the following day together with other mums, the inquest is told. We were going to be meeting up a group of mums on Saturday night for a few drinks, says the witness. And Emma had said that as well. Just excuse me, I'm just going to put the dog in there. She's too ear splitting. No, sorry. So that's interesting, isn't it? So the person that should arrange the play date with was not Emma, it was Lucy, a waitress, who'd been texting Nikki to arrange a play date between their two daughters. And Nikki had texted the night before she went missing, but Lucy only saw the text on the Friday morning. Lucy replied at 8:13 and says, I said my daughter would love to come and play. And at 8:59 a.m., Nikki replied, confirming the time, and used a smiley face emoji. And they were due to meet up the following day on the Saturday night with other mums. So I really do think, let's see what you all think about that. But it seems from what we know so far, it can't have been the big S. And Kurt and Lisa, hello. No, she wasn't cremated. She's been buried. Let's see. It can't be suicide. Ooh, I'm not supposed to say it out loud. It cannot, I don't think, be. I don't think there's anything. Tom Cruise will prop up. No, it feels like that, doesn't it? It feels like. I think she may have been. Do you think she was pushed into the river, maybe? But I've thought that before. But anyway, let's carry on. We've got to hear all the evidence, I suppose. We've got to, if what the conclusion is so far. So just let me get my water. Where's my water? My voice is going. From what we've heard so far, I would say, if I was the coroner, no, I'm not the coroner, but there's no proof that she tried to, they haven't produced any notes yet or anything to say that she was planning anything like that, unless something comes up with the doctor's evidence, So, and it sounds like she was making plans, etc. And when Louise comes to do her testimony, they were supposedly organising a spa date as well, weren't they? So. I think we can establish so far that it was an S, self-deletion. So if we're going to establish that, it leaves two options, doesn't it? Foul play or accidental death or misadventure. But I mean, so I suppose we're left with three. So, but for all those, you still need, you need the proof, At the end of the day, if there's no proof, it's got to be an open verdict, hasn't it? If all they can prove is that she went into the river and she drowned, but they can't prove how she ended up in the river and drowned, surely it's got to be an open verdict until something else comes up. I'm just having a look on Twitter at your man. Right. Now, a little bit more that Mark Williams Thomas is saying is that when he saw the man in black on the footpath, then he passed a man with a dog, then kept walking, and when he was near to the bench, he saw Nicola with the phone around about 9:10 to 9:20 with the phone in front looking at the screen, and he could not see or hear her talking. Was that Nicola? Was that Nicola? Or was it someone covering their face and trying to look like Nicola? That, well, anyway, we don't know. We'll see more things coming out as we speak. Let's see what else. Right. So, according to Mark Williams Thomas, let's see if that's come up on here yet. The Caravan park owner, which I'm presuming is Penny, she's the owner, isn't she? So that's who they mean. We should say actual names so we knew who they're actually talking about. The Caravan park owner, now he's saying, it hasn't come up on here yet, approached the stile and saw a loose Springer Spaniel near to the bench, not chaotic. She climbed over the stile. She saw the mobile. So it was Penny who found the mobile. She saw the dog harnessed between the bench and the water on the ground, was worried about the dog, so tied her up to the bench. To be continued. Witness saw when they should not see anything, right? Right, yeah, I'm waiting for the second part of that. She called the mobile number on the dog collar and the number was wrong. She called the vets because the name of the company was on the collar. The phone was lit up, line across a man name in each box. Phone was lit up, in other words, line across a man name in each box. I think that he's tried to say that very quickly. It'd be better when it comes up on here, maybe with it a bit more clear. It's obviously taking them longer on the Manchester Evening News to get it up here, but I think Mark is trying to say it too quick, so it's a bit garbled and I can't really understand what he's saying, so might have to wait for clarification of that. But basically, he's saying that it was Penny that found, she approached the stile, she saw the loose Springer Spaniel near to the bench, not chaotic, climbed over the stile, saw the mobile on the bench, saw the dog harnessed between the bench and water on the ground, worried about the dog, so tied it up to the bench. And then she phoned the vets, the mobile number that was on the dog collar, and the number was wrong. Called the vets because the name of the company was on the collar. And this is the bit I don't understand what he's saying here. Phone was lit up, line across a man name in each box. Don't know what that means. Ah, here we go, finally. So the next witness is Penny Fletcher, the owner of the campsite in St. Michael's on Wyre, close to where Nikki was last seen. Mrs. Fletcher took her dog for a walk at 9:30 a.m. and found Willow with Nikki nowhere to be seen. Oh, she's given evidence through a video link. Giving evidence via a video link, she says. As I came around the bend, I came to a stile. I tied up my dog and climbed over the stile. I saw this Springer Spaniel. It was near the bench, and then it was going towards the river where it drops down really steep. It wasn't doing anything chaotically. It was a bit giddy. I saw a mobile phone on the bench, and between the bench and the river, I saw a bundle in the grass. I walked down, and it was one of those dog harnesses. Now, this is what I find difficult. So, when they were talking about the lead and the harness, a lead is completely different from a harness, isn't it? You put a harness on your dog, and then the lead clips onto the harness. And then when you decide to let your dog off the lead because you're in an open place where you can, let them run around, you don't take the harness off. You just unclip the lead and let them run around. And then also you can grab hold of them if you need to. So, yeah, So I walked down and it's one of those dog harnesses. It seems strange to me that the harness was off the dog. Anyway, when she got back to St. Michael's on Wyre after attending a medical appointment in Garstang, Mrs. Fletcher said she called her daughter-in-law, is that Angela Fletcher? I don't know, and asked about the dog. She said, oh no, it's Nikki's dog, and Nikki has gone missing. Now, right, okay. So what she's saying is she found the dog. She tied the dog up to the bench. And then she went off to this medical appointment. And so how long was she at the medical appointment for before she called her daughter-in-law and asked about the dog? Right, okay. Are we going to get some clarification of that? So she took her dog for a walk at 9:30, found Willow with Nikki nowhere to be seen. So this is literally 10 minutes. This is where the police have got this sort of timeline of this, what happened between 9:20 and 9:30. Because they've got the guy that saw Nikki at 9:20, approximately. They've got Penny Fletcher who found the dog and the phone at 9:30. And she says she came round the bench, came to a stile, she tied up a dog and climbed over the stile. I saw this Springer Spaniel, it was near the bench, and then it was going towards the river where it drops down really steep. So from what she's saying, it was going down towards a river where it drops down really steep. So had Nikki gone in there? It wasn't doing anything chaotically, though, so it wasn't frantic. It was a bit giddy, she said. Oh, sure, it would be crying. I don't know. I saw a mobile phone on the bench, and between the bench and the river, I saw a bundle in the grass. I walked down, and it was one of those dog harnesses. Again, why was the harness off Willow? Why? Did it snap? I mean, they do snap, but that should have been tested, really, shouldn't it? Should have been looked at. If you'd gone to grab your dog, maybe because you were worried it might go to run down into the river, and the harness came away in your hand because it was breaking. But surely that should have been looked at, but of course nothing was really looked at. And then she went off for a medical appointment, which is fair enough. When did you phone the vet? So you couldn't go off and just leave the dog there, could you? Surely. Or you'd phone somebody else that you knew. I mean, bearing in mind they all live nearby, you'd phone your sister or your brother-in-law or your a nephew or grandson, and say, look, can you just come? I've got to go to my doctor's appointment, because that could have been something really important. We don't know. I've got to go to my doctor's appointment. Can you just come and be here with this dog until the owner comes back? Or can you ring the police for me and say this dog's been found? You wouldn't just go off and do nothing. Right, I'm sure we'll hear more in a minute. Let's see what Mark's got to say about that. Yeah, still don't know what this is. Phone was lit up, line across a man name in each box. I've no idea what that means. No idea. Let's see. You all okay there in chat? Are you enjoying, discussing it between you? What do you, are you having a chat about what I'm reading out between you? Yeah, why is she giving video evidence? Yeah, it could have been Penny who shoved her in. We don't know. Penny Fletcher is now confirming that she found Willow's harness halfway between the bench and the water. Her evidence via video. Yeah, you wouldn't take the harness off. And yeah, how can you take a harness off if you're dead in the river already anyway? So I just don't really understand that. Yeah, where was the lead? Oh, gosh, it's very confusing, isn't it? I don't think it's getting much. Well, at least now we do, because what was bugging me was was it Ron who found the phone? Was it Penny? It was never clear who exactly found the phone, but now we know it was Penny who found the phone. Yeah, she took up, tied up my dog and climbed over the stile. I'm just wondering why she tied up her dog and climbed over the stile. I thought it was like a kissing gate that did you have to climb over it? What are you climbing over it for? But she's not young, Penny. I'd be struggling to climb over the stile, and I think I've probably got at least 15 years on Penny. The dog was a bit giddy. The other thing is, you would know, wouldn't you? I mean, if you walked a certain walk every day, and they're creatures of habit, village people are creatures of habit, and you do see the same people every day with the same dogs. Now, you might not know that person's name, and Ron said that, and I think that's very true. For me, you'd know the dog, and you'd know the person that normally walked the dog, even to an extent that I've seen people, I've recognised the dog, and I'd say to the person, whoever was walking there, oh, where's the lady who normally walks the dog? Because you don't even know that woman's name. You know the dog's name probably, but you don't know the person's name. But it's strange to you that the person who normally walks it is not there. We notice these things, dog walkers. That's what we notice. You get talking to people, but you never really get the owner's names. You just get the dogs' names. We talk about our dogs. That's what we have in common. We don't know each other as friends. We just know each other as dog walkers. Now, apparently her video evidence is finished, but it's not come up with any new one yet. Let's see if Mark's got anything more to say. No, it's still coming up with this phone was lit up, line across a man name. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Okay. So let's try and make a guess who the next witness will be. So if it's in chronological order like this, it's got to be Ron next, is it? Because it Ron who came round the corner then with his dog, and and when he was talking to Sky News, anyway, Ron said to Sky News, he came round the corner and he saw the phone on the bench and he saw the dog and he thought someone had gone to the loo in the trees, didn't he? That's it. So a lot of people got confused about that. They thought he was saying that there was a toilet in the trees. There was no toilet. What he was thinking is someone's got caught short and decided to just go and have a quick. But did he actually see the back of someone, or did he just imagine that because he was thinking, why would a phone be there otherwise? Or this is like. they've sort of skated over that sort of very strange bit where it was that the phone moved to the bench. Not Nikki took the phone and put it on the bench, but probably, I suppose they can't say it because nobody actually saw her doing that. 1 minute Nikki had the phone in front of her face, talking, you know, covering her face, and next minute the phone was on the bench. But why was the phone not in Nikki's pocket or in a... So let's suppose some emergency had happened with the dog, which led to her slipping in. So let's imagine it. So she's walking, she's on her work call. Why she would have the phone to her face, I don't know, because these work calls, apparently she didn't participate in, did she? She only had to listen to them. So really, you'd have it up to your ear because you're just listening. There weren't, it wasn't a work call that she had to actually participate in. So according to the witness, she's got the phone here in front of her face, but I think may have been to cover her face, not her, but somebody else. And then, well, let's presume it was Nikki. So she's got a phone up to her face. She's walking around. The dog's having fun. And then suddenly the dog looks like maybe it's getting into trouble or it's going to fall in the water. So she runs over, tries to get the dog. The harness comes off in her hand and she falls into the water. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying, let's suppose. Where's the phone? Why is the phone on the bench? She'd have the phone with her. And so what's she done? Just stuck it on. Just doesn't make sense, does it? So and then she said, apparently, she said, "Oh no, it's Nikki's dog, and Nikki has gone missing." This is what her daughter-in-law A. So daughter-in-law A, is that Angela Fletcher, daughter-in-law? So that's not Ron's wife, is it? Because isn't Ron her sister's husband? Who is her daughter-in-law? This is this elusive Angela Fletcher, this very strange person that was on not only my chat, but a lot of people's chat, or a lot of YouTubers' chats. But honestly, some of that, I should have screenshotted them because they just got more and more bizarre and like really revolting. You know, it's like someone who had a serious sort of mental illness, like, to be saying things like that. So, you know, I had to get rid of her off the chat because, or whoever it was, I don't think it was a real person. Maybe someone pretending to be Angela, but I don't think, well, if Angela was a person that would say things like that. Right, here we go. We've got another. So the caravan owner continued. I saw a man walking towards me from a brick building when I was tying the dog up. I said, "I'm tying this dog up." He just laughed. Well built, 6 foot, 70 years old, had a dog with him. I think he's a local. Right. Okay, so anyway, so something else has come up now in the Manchester Evening News, so let's read that. Susan Jones is the wife of Roger Jones, a dog walker who Penny Fletcher tried to call for help after finding Willow. Roger was out walking the couple's dog Jet, who Susan said has since passed away. Oh, bless. She said she called her husband at 10:12. That's quite a long time after now, aren't we? So we've gone from 9:30-ish, but now we're at 10:12. She says, Roger says there's a phone on the bench, but I don't know how to work it. The inquest is told she then quickly walked to the riverbank where Roger was. Susan picked up Nikki's mobile phone and it showed the image used as the lock screen was one of Nikki, Paul and their children. Roger recognised Paul but didn't know where he lived, the inquest is told. Oh, Anne-Marie Fletcher. Susan then came across Anne-Marie Fletcher, Penny's daughter-in-law, who recognised Nikki from the picture and called the school. She has children who go to the same school as Nikki's 2 daughters. Yeah, because I always wondered why was the school called. But of course, if Anne-Marie recognised Nikki, you know, and that, and if they didn't, you know, they recognised Nikki, and they perhaps knew that she was Paul's partner, but they didn't know where Paul lived, and they didn't have Paul's phone number. So I suppose it's logical then that they would call the school, who would give them information, because she knew that Nikki's children went to that school too. But I'd like to know, where is this bit that he's saying? Oh, so apparently Penny had said she saw a man walking towards her from a brick building. When I was tying the dog up, I said, I'm tying this dog up. He just laughed. He was well built, 6 foot, 70 years old. Had a dog with him, believe he was a local. I think we've seen him on some footage, haven't we? But still, we don't know where the man in black is or ended up going. Gosh. Oof. Doesn't explain much, does it? Oh, let's see. So, the man in black. My head's reeling as well. It's like, yeah. You know, Jennifer, I don't know. So, Kay, they all seemed to be there at the same time, didn't they? But they didn't see. They didn't see each other. You know, you got this one saying they saw Nikki, that one saying they saw Nikki, or they saw the man in black, or they saw Kay or Penny, but they didn't all seem to see each other. I remember thinking that when I saw that Sky News walk around there, and I thought, how could nobody see what's happened here? It's not a hidden place; it's an open place. So you know. Hola. Hola, hola, hola. I'm back. Okay, let's see. Right. Sorry for people who came. Sorry for people who came in sort of earlier, but what happened was the broadcast was supposed to start now. But when I sort of just peeked in earlier, there were already lots of people on, and so we had a little chat. Hi, I'm back. Yeah, I had to go off and do a class. I'm back now. So I put the video on from yesterday just to keep people occupied so that they could chat. Oh, we've got trolls. Okay. Right, I'm going to have a little look back before we start catching up on everything. Some sickos on here. Oh dear. Hack each time. Right, we'll get rid of. I know it's not Hannah. I know. Have they hacked into you, Hannah? Am I to do I delete that comment? I don't want to delete you, do I? I'm going to put them in a timeout first of all. Yeah, look. There's some right weirdos out there, aren't there? Do you know what? You've just got to feel sorry for these people. Because I know it's not you, Hannah. I know very well it's not you. There's just some. You know, we have to feel sorry for them really, because they've got some. Let me just see. Stop. Oh, look. Yeah, I'm going back and trying to. Right. Trouble is, if I go back all the way, then I'm missing, because I want to catch up.
Let's see. Oh dear. Right. Let's go. Let's get some catch up of the. Now I'm back now, so don't be scared of doing comments or whatever, because if there's any trolls, somebody's been putting horrible messages under your name, Annie. Okay, I will go back and I've deleted a few there. That's the problem, isn't it? You know, people are just, they've got to have a pretty sad life, really, haven't they? Whoever you are, if you're still watching, well, I've taken them out, but at the end of the day, I feel so sorry for you if you feel that you've got to go and do things like that and you need some psychological help. You really do. So I'm sorry that your life is so miserable that that's really the only entertainment that you get is going on and irritating everybody else. Okay, right. Let's have a look. Oh, so I've just heard from one of the people that I know there. They got locked out of the inquest, because at a certain time they closed the doors and locked the doors so no one can go in, and they were anyway. So let's see what's going on. Let's have the catch-ups. Day one summary. So sorry I had to leave you, and I'm sorry if it's caused you some distress, but as I say, you've just got to think these people, you've got to feel sorry for them. So let's go right to what I missed. So, oh my gosh, a little bit. I want to go right back to the beginning. I'm better off. Okay, so at 10:51, I think there might be ones before that that have missed anyway. They were talking about, so this is Louise's testimony, I presume. The bond with Willow. Willow was like a third child. Oh, Willow is nearly 8, and I'm not sure Nikki missed a dog walk. She would always find time in her day. So then they're talking about, they talked at 10:54, which is not that long ago, so I'm not too far. If I've missed anything, I'll catch it up later when things sort of, when I get established and things calm down, and there'll be some times where there won't be anything to report, and that's when I'll go back and check over anything I might have missed. So at 10:54, she had issues, they talked about her issues with HRT. Going back to the summertime, I need to show this, don't I, actually? Oh, Tama, she's really good with the, and Jennifer, that's it, you've all been so nice. I feel awful that I had to go, but I just had to go. I didn't have a choice with that, unfortunately, but I'm not going anywhere now. That's it now. I'm here, and we're going to catch up, and we're going to follow it as it goes. So yeah, issues with HRT at 10:54. Going back to the summertime, she discussed she was having problems with the HRT and having bad headaches. Thank you all that kept the other chatters updated, and thanks for ignoring the pathetic troll, whoever it is. But as I say, we've got to just hope that they're okay mentally themselves. So going back to the summertime, she discussed she was having problems with the HRT and having bad headaches. She couldn't seem to get the balance right, bless. She was having trouble sleeping some nights, using anything to try and relax her, says her sister. She brought it up issues with her medication again around Christmas. Now, any of you that are my members, and you'll have seen that photo of Nicola at Christmas, she does look quite strained, I think. And was talking about using, but for what reason, I don't know, and was talking about using more herbal methods. She had a blip over Christmas. Yeah, I wonder what the blip was. It would just make, Christmas is a very difficult time. The amount of crimes that I've read about, especially, domestic ones, they kick off at Christmas, birthdays,
special events, because these are the times when people drink a lot, when people are thrown together, and issues come out, don't they? So she had a blip over Christmas, but then she was back on the HRT medication in January, back to work and back to the normal Nikki. No, right, at 10:56, no talk of, I think we've really practically realised, decided, you know, we never thought it anyway, but I think we've had it justified now that there were no deletion thoughts. And she said she's never confided in me about any suicidal thoughts. And when asked about the not wanting to be here comment, her sister says she doesn't recall her saying it on January the 10th. Well, I must have missed that, so I'm going to have to look back for that. 10:57, the wake-up call. Louise Cunningham continues. She was fuming with me for calling the ambulance, saying I'd overreacted. Maybe I had, but it was a bit of a wake-up call. She was then back at work and started taking the HRT medication. So it was Louise who phoned the ambulance, was it? It was Louise. Is this at the 10th, I presume, that we're talking about? 10:59, with the harness found, Louise insists her sister would not leave Willow to fend for herself at any point and would not have gone in the River Wire by choice. Well, that's what we've been saying, isn't it? She would not, you would not. She loved that dog so much. So even if she was thinking of doing something to herself, there's no way she would just leave the dog to maybe go and get splattered on the road or for something to happen to her. So I don't think she would ever go in the river intentionally. And I think, you know, that's true. At 11:01, she said she didn't pick up the message. She last saw her sister on January the 13th and were the siblings planning a spa day right up to January the 27th. I literally confirmed it was booked, but she didn't pick up the message. Oh, Louise says as she breaks down for a second time. Oh my God, it must be so difficult for her. So difficult. 11:07, Nicola's career was on the up. She had a really positive meeting about her career. That's what her parents had said, wasn't it? With love homes the day before she went missing. Louise says she's in good spirits and looking forward to her career. Oh, my dog's come say hello. Yeah, there's no way that she threw herself in there. Just no way. Right, 11:09, partner Paul Ansell to give evidence. Says Paul Ansell, the blip over the Christmas period happened, but in January she was back to herself, looking forward to the future, and everything was on the up. She spent most of the last year doing hard work to build a business up, and she was starting to see the rewards of that. So that's as far as it goes to on the. I'm going to come back to the chat. Just make sure you're okay. Are we all okay? So we haven't, have they gone? The troll's gone now. I don't think they've come back. Thank you to all of you that have just kept going normally, and especially for yours was how do they hack? Who's done that? Hi, Chumba. Why? Well, what do you mean? Well, how do they hack you? I don't know how they hack you. Chumba been hacked. When you say hacked, I don't think they've gone into your account. They can't go into your account. How can they? Who would do that? But because now, Chumba, I can just see your normal messages. I think what they do is they make, they'll have made, you know, and this is really how weird some people are. Yeah, they're making duplicate, exactly, John. They've made a duplicate account that looks like yours and come on, you know, to make these comments. They haven't hacked you. They haven't gone into you. What they've done is made a duplicate account. So easy. Just, you know, it is easy. You've always got to be careful of what messages you get on YouTube and things like that, because it's so easy to make. Same on Facebook. It's easy to make a duplicate account. So it's not hacking into your account. It's just making a very similar account And it's probably another YouTuber. It'd be some idiot that's watching this that knows how to do these sort of things. Because it has to be someone who, first of all, it has to be somebody who's even bothered to do it, somebody who's mental enough to do it, and somebody who knows who to do it. So it'd be some YouTuber probably. Yeah, but yeah. Do you know what? Anyway, right. Let's get on to the Manchester Evening News. One, because see if there's anything there. It said, didn't he say that Paul Ansell was given his last? It was the last witness. So is that the last witness already? So not many witnesses today then. Where's the live on here? Come on, Manchester Evening News. Oh, this is yesterday's. Where's today's? Just trying to find today's Manchester Evening News. It's showing me yesterday's. Here we go. Okay, let's share this tab instead. Make sure you can see it. Yeah, I'm gonna see. I've not had a moderator before because you know, I don't normally have this many people on it. So hi SJ, sorry, but we don't. I don't have other channels mentioned on here. I know you've probably just come in and I wasn't here before, but I'd appreciate if you just didn't mention any other channels because it just causes problems. So okay, we're on the Manchester Evening News now. And yeah, okay. Let's go back to the beginning of this because I do like the Manchester Evening News ones. I think they're they're the most comprehensive. They take quite a long time to update, don't they? But they're comprehensive. That's why. So at 9:59, gosh, they started bang on time. So yes. People I know, they've been locked out of there. They haven't been able to get in for the morning session. Presumably, they'll be able to get in again for the afternoon session, but they must have arrived. They had to wait so long yesterday for it to start. They didn't realise they would have to be there so early today. Okay, so 9:59, Ms. Bulley's parents are due to give evidence. That will be that's very moving, isn't it? The family giving the evidence. Members of the press have been told that evidence is likely to end around 12 today. So we'll go up to that till the evidence ends. And then the coroner will take a 2-hour break to deliberate and then return to his conclusion at 2. So 2 o'clock is 3 o'clock here in Spain, 2 o'clock UK time. I will be on here for the conclusion. Witnesses and members of the public are now being brought into the council chamber before Nicky's family and then the coroner, Dr. James Aidley. And today, mental health clinician Teresa Levy and Dr. Rebecca Gray, Nicky's GP, will be giving evidence. Nicky's parents, Ernest and Dot Bulley, are also going to give evidence, the inquest is told. This will be in relation to January the 26th when they were with Nicky. We hadn't previously expected them to give evidence. Their solicitor says they were at the house that night and they would like to give evidence. So apparently they weren't going to give evidence, but they have specifically asked to give evidence. So they want to say something about their daughter, bless them. Then at 10:17, Miss Bulley's GP gives evidence. Dr. Rebecca Gray gave evidence. She's a GP at Great Eccleston Health Centre where Nicky was registered. In December 2018, Nicky consulted her GP about anxiety. She was prescribed citalopram, an antidepressant, the inquest is told. Dr. Gray says that in February 2019, Nikki was prescribed propranolol, a beta blocker. Gosh, a beta blocker, which can be used to treat physical symptoms of anxiety. Bless her. Although this can cause low blood pressure and potentially fainting episodes, the inquest was told Nikki's blood pressure was regularly checked and was always normal. She didn't report any side effects either, the coroner is told. Yeah, then at 10:23, there is no mention in the records of Miss Bulley reporting, Ms. Bulley, Nikki, reporting any suicidal feelings or self-harm. The inquest is told that tests in July 2021 confirmed Miss Bulley was postmenopausal. Within a month of starting on HRT in October 2021, Nikki went back to the GP and said she was experiencing headaches, which are a known side effect, the coroner is told. The dose and medication was tweaked and the headaches resolved. In January 2022, the inquest is told Nikki presented with fatigue and said she felt more anxious. She said she had started a new job and was finding it particularly stressful. The GP ordered some blood tests, which were all normal, and Dr. Gray said there is no mention in the records of Nikki reporting any suicidal feelings or self-harm. She definitely didn't do that to herself. Let me just check. Hi, Caroline. Are we all still in the, we've got no trolls now? No, I think we're okay now, so they've gone. I know, why do people do that? Honestly, they're very sad people. I personally think you've got to almost feel sorry. Well, you have got to feel sorry for them, but they cause problems for other people. Okay, so now 10:30. At 10:30, her doctor reports that Mrs. Bulley don't like that, Mrs. Bulley. Nikki told her GP she was struggling to sleep and her brain felt like it was overloaded. Well, we've all felt like that, haven't we? You know, I tell you what, I listen to a YouTube channel when I'm feeling like that and I can't sleep. There's a YouTube channel called Sleep Cove, where this guy, I think he's called Christopher Fitton, and he tells stories, and you've just got this voice, and literally you put it on and within 10 minutes you're asleep. In February 2022, at a HRT review, Nikki appeared emotional and said her anxiety had increased along with low mood. The doctor tweaked the level of estrogen in the medication, the inquest is told. Now, I've never taken HRT. I know, you know, some people swear by it. Other people that have taken it have had side effects. I'm one of these people who hates taking anything. I'm to the wrong extreme, really, to be honest. I know there are times that I probably should take something and I just don't. But I like ibuprofen. That's my favourite. That's my drug of choice. But anyway, I think it works for a lot of things. But it sounds like she was struggling with this. At Nikki's next HRT review. Oh, sorry. There's someone at the door. Hang on. Hey, come here. Go on. In. Go on. Hola. No quiero. Vale, gracias. Oh my God, everything all happens at once. So I thought it was, I've ordered some shopping online because I couldn't get out to the supermarket because I was doing this. I thought that was the delivery, but actually it was the post woman. Okay, so where was I? So at Nikki's next HRT review, she said she was struggling with sleep and this was due to her work. She described how her brain felt like it was overloaded. She had tried taking Nitol herbal tea and a sleep spray. Calms are good. Just saying, in case any of you have any of these problems. If you've heard of Calms, Kalms, they're like herbal tablets. I found them very good. On January the 11th, 2023, Nikki went to the walk-in centre at Fleetwood. So this was January the 11th. January the 11th. I thought it was, so it wasn't the welfare check January the 10th anyway. She went into the walk-in centre at Fleetwood and said she had fallen and banged her head the previous night and was feeling drowsy and being sick, the inquest is told. She was sent to A&E at Blackpool Victoria Infirmary, where a head CT scan found no internal injury. Now, well, I wonder if she did fall and bang her head or something else happened, because you know this is the sort of thing that women say, isn't it, when they go to the doctors? But we don't know, so we can't really, say that. But at one stage over Christmas in 2021, Nikki stopped taking her HRT medication because she felt it might be causing her a low mood, Dr. Gray adds. However, she subsequently restarted it and said this did improve her hot flushes. So at 10:37, they testified that Miss Bulley's family were concerned. Again, who is the family? When they say family, who do they mean? Were concerned over her increased alcohol use. She had said she didn't want to be here. Teresa Lewis-Levy, mental health clinician who was involved with the home treatment team and the Synergy vehicle, which is the mental health emergency response vehicle, is the next witness. She says on January the 10th, just 2 weeks before she went missing, Nikki's sister, Louise Cunningham, called the mental health team and asked for some assistance with her sister. The family was concerned with her increased alcohol use, so I presume it was Louise then. Nikki had not wanted to engage with the children and had said she didn't want to be here. The team arrived at Nikki's home at 7:30. Nikki's partner, Paul, and her sister, Louise, were there, the coroner is told, together with police and a paramedic. What do we think about that? Before I go on to the next one, let me have a look at your comments. What do you think? It does sound like that, doesn't it? Yeah, try Calms. And Wendy, not only try Calms, but try that Sleep Cove YouTube. Honestly, he does it's a sort of a mixture of hypnosis and just he's telling a story of some kind. And literally, I recommended it to my friend when we were in Portugal because she was having problems, and she was asleep within 5 minutes. She said the next month, she said, "Oh my God, I just fell asleep." So yeah, it's quite sad, isn't it, this to think of that she was, it sounds like she was having some problems. So what we know now is Louise phoned for the ambulance. We don't have of course the cam footage or whatever because the policeman forgot to turn it on, but apparently, well, we don't know the exact thing of that, but anyway, so Paul, Nikki's partner Paul, her sister Louise were there at the home at 7:30 when the team arrived, together with police and a paramedic. And this is the doctor, this is the mental health clinician that's giving this evidence. And this is Teresa Lewis-Levy, who was involved with the home treatment team and the Synergy vehicle. Okay. Right, 10:44, the evidence continued from Miss Levy. She says she spoke to Nikki in her bedroom. She says Nikki was appropriately dressed and appeared to be intoxicated, she said. The inquest is told Nikki said she had lost weight as a result of her increased alcohol use. The conversation with Miss Lewis-Levy was quite brief, and Nikki said she was tired and wanted to go to bed. Miss Louise Levy says that although Nikki was intoxicated, I mean, was Paul intoxicated? I mean, they've probably been drinking together. Although Nikki was intoxicated, she wasn't slurring her words, but she was repetitive in saying she wasn't sure how this had happened, but she wasn't able to quantify that with an explanation. Well, you know, she could have been drugged, couldn't she? She could have been drugged. Anyway, it's a possibility. Let's see what else comes out. It's very sad to think of her like that, you know. Anyway, Nikki, the inquest is told, was advised to go and see the GP the following day, but she said she couldn't as she was sorting her mortgage out. And what mortgage? However, when Miss Louise Levy spoke to Nikki's partner Paul, he said there wasn't an issue with the mortgage and it wasn't something that was being done the following day. Does anyone feel, is it just me or is there a sense of a bit of gaslighting here? And who do you believe? Why do you know, so she said she couldn't, she was sorting her mortgage. When she says her mortgage, what mortgage? You know, her mortgage in the house they lived in, her mortgage as far as another house she was moving to. But then Paul said there wasn't an issue with the mortgage and it wasn't, so he's contradicting her. At 10:51, Miss Bulley's sister gives evidence. Nikki's sister gives evidence. Louise Cunningham is the next witness. She is asked about her and what type of person Nikki was. She begins by saying Nikki was my big sister before breaking down in tears. Louise says Nikki was very much a planner and describes her as just amazing. She says, every Christmas, Mum and Dad would buy her a Springer Spaniel calendar. Oh, and every January, Nikki would transfer everything onto the new one with a colour-coded system. She sounds very efficient and organised to me. Before having the kids, she was a mortgage advisor. After the kids, she resat her exams. She was just getting back into a routine of work again, and she was absolutely brilliant. There's a few contradictions here, aren't there? At 10:56, Miss Bulley had a special bond with her dog, Willow. Nikki had a special bond with Willow, her dog, her sister says. He was like her third child. She would always find time in her day to take Willow for a walk. Nikki did have a bit of a blip over the Christmas period with her HRT. However, come January, she'd started to get back to her normal self. She was back on the HRT and back to work and back to normal. Nikki, her drinking did increase. But Louise says she has never ever confided in me about any suicidal thoughts or anything like that at all. Then 10:59, what I did read out earlier off the other page, but this will be more complete. The coroner, James Aidley, asked if this was something she had thought about taking her own life. Would she just leave the dog in the field and go? Louise replies, absolutely not. There is no way Nikki would leave Willow unattended. Referring to January the 10th, when the ambulance was called, Louise says, it was a bit of a wake-up call for her, I think. She was fuming with me for calling the ambulance. She thought I had overreacted, and maybe I did. But she is my sister, and I was concerned. She started to get back to normal after that. Well, what was they haven't really said what she was doing that made Louise so concerned that she phoned the ambulance. Anyway, Louise says she saw Nikki on Friday, January the 13th, having stayed with her sister for a few days after the incident on January the 10th. Okay, 11:07. Just let me check back into chat. I just have to check that you're all okay. You're all okay. We've got no trolls now. No trolls, no trolls, no trolls. Good. Okay, so we're getting back to normal now, aren't we? Good. Now, Right, well, let's just see what they say. I've got a few thoughts here, but I just want to see what they say. So 11:07, Louise said that the sisters were talking about booking a spa day on the morning of Nikki's disappearance. The inquest is told that Nikki and Louise had childhood nicknames for each other. Nikki was Clacker and Louise was Tosh. On the morning Nikki disappeared, the inquest is told that Louise texted her sister on WhatsApp and they were talking about booking a spa day. Louise booked the spa day that morning, then signed off a text to her at 8:52 a.m. with the words, Tosha. Oh. Louise says tearfully, literally, I was saying it was booked, but she never picked up the message. So the inquest is told the sisters were due to go to Ribby Hall for a spa day on March the 18th, using a voucher Nikki's daughters had bought her for Mother's Day in 2022. Sophie Cartwright, Casey, representing the family, asks, would it be fair to say you were incredibly close sisters? Louise replies, yes. The barrister continues, not just incredibly close, but you come from a very loving family. You were brought up down south, but Mum and Dad moved north to be near their girls. Also, it sounds like the girls went there first, then Ernie and Dot. We talked about hobbies, but is it fair to say Nikki's hobby was family? And Louise responds with a yes. At 11:10, we hear that Nikki was excited about her career. She worked with Love Homes in Garstang, an estate agent. The day before she disappeared, Louise said she had a really successful work meeting and she was excited about her career. She worked for herself as a mortgage advisor, but had built up relationships with various companies such as Love Homes, Concept Living, a new build construction company, and exclusively mortgages. Okay, I'm just going to let my dogs out of the bathroom because I just remembered I put them in the bathroom because the doorbell rang and then I put things that's still in there. Calm down, calm down, calm. Hey. Okay, so at 11:16, apparently Nikki was full of beans the night before she went missing. So we're now on to Paul's evidence. He is asked by the coroner, you were Nikki's partner? And he replies, I am, making a distinction between past and present tense. Yeah, he is very softly spoken and sat with his arms crossed on the table in front of him. After the mental health blip, he says she was back to her usual self and everything was on the up. She was getting back into her work. She was excited. It was going really well. She had worked so hard. She was happy about earning her own money and getting that independence again. The night before she went missing, he says she was full of beans. Mr. Ansell says he works from home for a US company and had been working till 1 a.m. the night before Nikki disappeared. The coroner asks about the morning she went missing. The coroner asks, it was just a normal morning? Mr. Ansell replies, yes. She would always do 2 loops of that field before heading back to the bench and picking the car up from school. So at 11:22, the coroner asks questions about the phone and the dog harness. Mr. Ansell, this is what I was saying, wasn't it? Why would the harness be off? Mr. Ansell is asked why Willow's harness was off. He says, we would always take the harness off before going through the gate. Because she's a Springer, she's very erratic and into the bushes. So anything that's on her could get caught. We used to take it off. Now, we've all seen quite a lot of photos, haven't we, of Willow being walked with the harness on. Anyway, he's asked by the coroner why the harness was in the grass and the phone on the bench. Mr. Ansell says, well, he said the other day, he said in the interview it was a decoy, didn't he? But anyway, let's see what he says now. Mr. Ansell says when she got back to the bench, she is still listening to a conference call. She must have put the phone on the bench and then gone to put the harness back on Willow. At 10:30 a.m., roughly an hour after Nikki is believed to have entered the water, Mr. Ansell sent Nikki a text saying, "Have you got lost?" That's such an odd thing to say, I think. The inquest is told. At 10:30 he sent that message. 10:50 the children's school called him to say, and there was this controversy about whether it was a school or whether it was Anne-Marie Fletcher who phoned him, and maybe if Anne-Marie Fletcher worked at the school, but well, there was a lot of confusion about that yesterday in the inquest. Anyway, he says the children's school called him at 10:50. So this is 20 minutes later. So although he's not had a reply from the message he sent, "Have you got lost?" or phone calls, he hasn't popped round 10 minutes away to see if she's okay. And you know what? He didn't even know if she had actually even made it to the school. You know, that she might have gone off with the children, or they might have had an accident. He didn't know any of that, and he didn't go over to see if she was okay. Anyway. At 10:50, the children's school called him to say her phone and Willow had been found. The coroner references Ring doorbell footage, which shows Mr. Ansell leaving the house at around this time in his gym gear. It doesn't mention his gym gear. Sophie Cartwright asked Mr. Ansell to explain more about this successful meeting that Nikki had with Love Homes in Garstang the day before she went missing. She had agreed to be their sole mortgage advisor, the inquest here. She came home in amazing spirits, says Mr. Ansell. Right, let's see what you're saying in chat. What do you think about all that? What do you think about all that? Yeah, never asked anything. Gosh, I can't wait to see what comes out after, but very, very strange, isn't it? Have you got lost? And then not, literally round the corner where she supposedly disappeared from. Yeah. Anyway, don't forget to press like. Remember, so just to remind you, because I think we are learning. There's something about that. There's something about that when he says she came home and she was full of beans. Anyway, let's see So 11:31. An incredible mum, an amazing mum. Mr. Ansell reveals Nikki had a meeting planned at 11 a.m. the morning she disappeared. She then had quite a lot of paperwork to get ready for another meeting that afternoon. She would always come home from her morning walk at between 10 and 10:15, he says, adding, when it got to 10:30, I started to feel a bit concerned. The inquest is told that on Saturday, January the 28th, Nikki was due to take her daughter to a gymnastics competition. She had a full day of practice that day, and that's why Nikki had arranged a play date for her other daughter, who also had her first street dancing lesson that morning. There is no way that she threw herself into that river. He describes Nikki as an incredible mum, an amazing mum. Reading from Mr. Ansell's statement to the coroner, the family's barrister says, your daughters and her daughters were her absolute world. She adored nothing more than a walk with Willow in the countryside or a family walk in the hills, followed by a nice meal out. 11:45. Everybody loved her. Mr. Ansell says there would be no reason why Nikki would put the harness down on the ground. He says the phone would have been on the bench because Nikki would have put it down in order to put the harness back on Willow. Mr. Ansell says that at the time Nikki disappeared, she had stopped drinking and was back taking her HRT medication. He says in his statement, She was grateful for every day. She was an amazing mum and partner, and this gave her huge security. She focused on the important things and did the right thing by everyone. She was well respected by all who knew her, and everybody loved her. Oh, that's nice. I'm going to have to look back over all the photos of the dog, because I think she's always still got the harness on the photos that I've seen. But I need to check that. I will do that when... oh, there you go. That's the last one so far. Let's see if there's anything more on here, because we've not looked at what Mark's got to say today. Oh, so, yeah, the parents. So Paul Ansell's, this is quite upsetting, is it? Her poor parents. Paul Ansell's evidence has concluded, and now Nicola's parents, Ernest and Dot, will speak as an addition to the planned witnesses. So they've asked to speak. 11:47, everything normal. Ernest and Dorothy were at Nicola and Paul's home on the Thursday before she went missing. They picked up the girls every Thursday. So what, were they taking them back then, or they picked them up and they were going to have them overnight? So were they taking them back? And they picked up. Oh, so they'd probably picked them up from the school, I did that Thursday, and then took them for their tea or whatever, for their dinner, and then took them home. Everything was just normal, says Dorothy, who then breaks down as she recalls saying goodbye to her daughter for the final time. Well, you know that's going to make me cry, because that's, thing is, when you say goodbye to people, you don't know, do you, if it's going to be the last time. I'm sure we all remember some of our loved ones that we've said goodbye to, and we didn't realise at that time. I remember saying goodbye to my dad after I'd come to live in Spain, and I went back for a holiday to the UK for a holiday. My son was only 2 years old, and I can still see my dad as clear as day, stood at the front door saying goodbye, waving, as I got in the car or in the taxi to go off. And I didn't know that would be the last time I would see him. So I expect that plays on. So it just shows you've got to appreciate your loved ones while they're there. Say the things you want to say. Don't hold back, because you literally do never know. It doesn't matter if they've got a dangerous job or not, or if you're going a long way away or not. You just have to tell them every day. Anyway, Father's Pride at 11:51. Ernest says she was full of it, really happy after securing the business deal. She secured this business deal, hadn't she? So I think we can gather she was happy. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever. The coroner is not going to be able to come up with a decision of self-deletion. That's definitely not possible, is it? I think. Don't get upset. Well, we'll get a little bit upset. I'm not. It's nothing. I mean, it's just. I just feel for people, and that'd be hard for them, won't it? Oh, right. We'd have a little look. Yeah, I agree, Vicky. Her medical records show no sign of. I wonder why the ambulance was phoned that night. I don't think it goes into that enough, does it? Or we're probably, we don't know what were the reasons that Louise felt so concerned that she felt that she had to ring the ambulance that night. Very sad, very sad, very, very sad. Right, let's go back to the evening news and see anything else. I don't think it's updated yet, so I might have a look at Mark and see what he's got. Well, do you know what? You, as a parent, you never think you're going to be a witness at the inquest. to the death of your child, do you? I mean, you just don't. I mean, how awful for them. You know, it's like your worst nightmare come true, isn't it? Okay, let's see what Mark's got to say while we're waiting for an update. So what we're thinking about the verdict now, I think we definitely, it can't be self-deletion. It just can't be. So it's going to either be accident, but I don't think there's any proof for that. Misadventure, again, there's no proof. So it's got, surely, it has to be an open verdict. What do you all think in chat? Tell me what you think. You know, surely I can't see how it can be. I've said it from the beginning, but I don't know, unless he's going to be thinking. And then there's this man in black that hasn't been mentioned. The man in black, the screams that are heard. You know, I think for the coroner to say that it was an accidental death, they've got to feel. They've got to feel that it was certain. You know, that she fell in, but we don't know. I mean, it's possible, of course it is, but we don't know, do we? So, surely it's got to be an open verdict in my eyes. I don't know. Right, let's see. Oh, he doesn't seem to be giving updates today. I can't see any updates from Mark Williams Thomas. Ended just the last thing on his Twitter that I can see, unless I'm missing something. Maybe my phone's not updated. I don't know. Try it on my other phone. Let's see if they've updated anything on the evening news. Okay, so at 11:57, Nikki's parents give evidence. Nikki's parents, Ernest and Dot, are speaking. They are sat side by side next to their daughter, Louise. Mrs. Bulley cries as she recalls the last time she saw her daughter. The night before she went missing, Mr. and Mrs. Bulley had been watching the girls at Nikki's home. So they'd been at Nikki's home, watching the girls while she was in a Zoom meeting. Before we went home, we went to the front door and we gave them all a kiss and a cuddle, said Mrs. Bulley. We gave her a hug, as we always do with our children and with our grandchildren. Mr. Bulley describes giving Nikki a kiss and a hug. As he starts to cry, Mrs. Bulley adds sadly for the last time. Mr. Bulley has to take several pauses as he speaks to compose himself. She put so much time into passing those exams, he says. It wasn't easy bringing up a family and looking to combine the two together, but we knew that she could do it. Mr. Bulley says as a little girl, Nikki was always dancing around in her tutu, and she must have been into ballet then, and as a teenager, she wasn't any trouble. Dear me, how sad, how sad. Oh. Very, very sad. Ay. They didn't say, did you notice they didn't say Paul had to fight back the tears as he was talking. Louise did, and the father and the mother. Doesn't seem like Paul had to fight back any tears. There's something funny, because how can he not be crying? It's not because he's a northerner. So Ernie's crying because he's a southerner and southerners cry, but Paul's a northerner. So no, Ernie's crying because he genuinely feels upset. Paul wasn't crying because whether he did anything to Nikki or he didn't do anything to Nikki, he did some other, there's something wrong in that relationship. Why wasn't he crying? He's never cried. There's no emotion come off him. I don't know. If somebody loved their partner, who wouldn't be crying? It's not because he's from the north, for God's sake. How ridiculous. I would have liked to have been able to actually see him giving that evidence. Actually, it's good to have the catch-ups, etc. It's good, at least we know what's going on, but it'd be better, wouldn't it, to be able to actually hear it, because you have to feel someone's emotion. But it's funny, I can even feel Ernest and Dot's emotion just from reading it on the update on the Manchester Evening News. I can't feel any emotion from Paul, even when I'm watching him speaking face to face. Where is the emotion? He can't be that emotionless. He described himself as laid back. Oh, one of the people that are there at the inquest said he's done something about his hair. He's got like a bald spot at the back that was showing something's been done about that, been sorted. I don't blame him for looking after his appearance, etc. And I know it's pretty obvious that he does use Botox, etc., which lots of people do. He's very conscious about his appearance, isn't he? Very appearance conscious. Yeah, Mark Williams Thomas, he's not updating today for some reason. So maybe he got locked out as well if he didn't get there in time. That's just, God, I'd be going mad if I didn't get in there. Okay, right, we've got an update. 12:02. The family's barrister urged the coroner to return a conclusion of accidental death, because they won't want the self-deletion verdict, that's for sure. So that would be the worst thing that they're imagining. The family's barrister, Sophie Cartwright Casey, is now making submissions to the coroner regarding possible conclusions available to him. Coroners are encouraged, where possible, to use what is known as a short form conclusion, such as accident, misadventure, suicide, or drug-related death. Miss Cartwright KC tells the coroner the conclusion he should return is one of accidental death. She says the phone evidence, post-mortem evidence, expert evidence, and eyewitness accounts all point to Nikki's death being an accident. But what about the screams and the man in black? I feel like I'm in some sort of parallel universe sometimes. They just reported, are they saying that they don't believe Ron? Not Ron. I could have forgotten his real name now. I've been calling him Ron for so long. So they're saying they don't believe him, that there was no man in black. There was no screams. Anyway, apparently she said what occurred on the riverbank at probably some time. Where's it gone? Oh, it's just updated again. What happened on the riverbank at probably sometime shortly after 9:18 was a tragic accident for Nikki. Now, this is the barrister that's representing the family. So at 12:04, the family is saying the family are of the view that rumour, suspicion and speculation has been allayed by the evidence. She adds, it is clear from the evidence that at 9:15, Nikki increased the volume on the call. And it appears that what happened after that must somehow be linked to the location of the dog harness found on the steep part of the slope. There has been much rumour, suspicion and speculation The family are of the view that this has now been allayed by the evidence. The family are comforted by the evidence that Nikki's death would have been very soon after she entered the water. The barrister urges the coroner to find, I don't quite get this, but anyway, the barrister urges the coroner to find at approximately 9:30 a.m. Nicola Bulley, on the balance of probabilities, died in the river due to an accidental death. And this is the barrister for the family saying this. Right, I'm coming back to the chat now. What do we think? I know. Yes. Well, this is the barrister for the family that is saying this. Well, that's it, Heather. They'll want accidental death rather than suicide. Obviously, they won't want suicide. But what? I'm just again. I've gone all speechless again. You know, I would. To me, you'd be saying you want it to make it clear that what maybe they're thinking that's. They just don't want the suicide verdict, really, do they? So as far as they're concerned, if, Jennifer, it's finished. By the way, it's finished now. So we're going to talk for a little bit more, but then we'll come back later to hear the verdict. God, I just don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say. I think, they need it closing. I wonder what happens. Like, say the coroner takes that view and records an accidental death, but to me, surely as a coroner, you need proof. Where's the proof? Not the proof. Heather, no, I wouldn't say I have changed my view. I think there's something strange about it. And the things that are worrying me are the screams and the man in black. Now, if it wouldn't be for them, this man in black that's never been found or even encouraged. So basically, then, are they saying that that's a rubbish thing that Ron had said? He's not called Ron, but Roy or whatever his name is. Are they saying that wasn't true, that there wasn't a man there? Because I'm telling you what, if there was a man there, you'd want to know who that man was. If not, even if they did anything to Nikki or not. But for the people that are going there walking, the women that are going there who was that man and why has he not been found? But it could be completely innocent. It could have been someone waiting for a lift. I mean, what would they be waiting for a lift for? But how? That's. Was it Richard Fife who said that? So it wasn't Ron. It was Richard Fife who said about the man in black. So are they saying that Richard Fife was lying about a man in black? I mean, he said he saw him twice as well. He wasn't just saying, no, I just caught a glimpse of a shadowy figure and I thought it was a man in black. He says he gives quite a detailed description of him. But one of my people that were there at the, they gave me a pretty clear description what he was wearing. Let's have a look. Yeah, man in black jeans, hoodie and a beanie hat with a round face, 6'1", 45 years old, around. Seen by, and she's put Roger, Ron, Mr. Pike, and you're saying it's this Mr. Fife. So it wasn't just like a shadowy figure. There's got a detailed description here of a man in black that was seen there that we don't know who it was. So how can, that cannot be passed? Surely that cannot be dismissed. Surely that can't be dismissed. Let me just look at Oh, yeah. So she's really annoyed, this lady, because she's bumped into someone there, and they got locked out as the doors closed early today, which is bloody marvellous, because yesterday we had to wait 90 minutes before it even started. Anyway, we can go back in after lunch, so she'll be going back in for the actual she'll be going back in for the verdict. That's right. I mean, the thing is, maybe it didn't have anything to do with it. Maybe it is true that it was accidental death. I still think there should be more made of why she wasn't found. There's still a lot of questions, isn't there? Still a lot of questions, whichever way you look at it. Now, the family will want the accidental death because they won't want the suicide death. They won't want that. That, for the daughters, for Nikki's daughters, for the children, they won't want them to grow up thinking that their mum did that. And she didn't do it anyway. I don't think there's any evidence for that anyway. I don't think any evidence has been presented, has it? All right, she might be having a few sleepless nights or being a little bit, she's had some problems, but there's nothing to suggest that she did it to herself. So I think we can dismiss that. Yeah. I know people whose parents have taken their own lives or whatever, and self-deletion. I know when people do it and they're totally they're not, you have to feel sympathy for people who feel that they're at that point that they do it. But sometimes I wonder if they realised the devastation, that they do leave behind for everyone. The devastation, it affected my life, and it was, for me, it was my ex-partner, and it was almost a relief, because when he wasn't here anymore, that meant I was safe, because I wasn't safe until he did that. But it still was a total devastation even in that case. So God knows how it was for his children, and these things never go away. And I know that now his children, they're grown up and they've got children of their own, so he would have had grandchildren, and quite often I think God, he never even got to meet his grandchildren and stuff like that. And it just caused devastation. And I know when people are feeling like that, they don't, it's because they're so encompassed in the way they feel they can't think outside the box. But I just wish they would, because they leave so much devastation behind. Yeah, I think it's true. I think it's obviously a better outcome for the family if it's accidental death than if it's self-deletion. But I just still, it's too many questions even for that, because if you make it like, I don't know, if someone was on a roof and fell off a roof, but you stood at the side of a river that you walk every day, and all right, the harness is there, but we don't know why the harness was there. There's no proof to say it was an accident. There was nothing. Sally Riley said that right from the beginning. There was nothing on the side of the bank that showed that anyone had fallen in. There was no scrabbling. There was no. So where's the evidence of that? So we'll see. We just have to see. Yeah, and she was not found by the specialists. So we have to see. There's there's definitely, Linda, no evidence of self-deletion. That is no way that's going to be. Watch him come back. He won't come back with that. There's not enough proof for that. So. There just isn't enough proof. Now then, I just want to have a look at what time are we on. So he's having 2 hours to go away and think about it. I just want to have a look at some of the pictures of Willow, because Paul said it was common to take off the harness, but I felt like Willow always had the harness on in the photos. Let's have a look.
But, you know, when she's by the side of the river. Images. Gosh, can't see on all of them. Let's see if I can find some photos of Willow. Actually, by when she's at the river. Oh my God, there was loads of it of them on here. Now I can't find it. Oh, Willow's little face. Right. Ah, so there's a couple with both. So we've got let me go back. Let me show you these pictures. So I think you can see that there. Yeah. So we've got a picture of Willow here on a walk, and she's off the lead, but she's got the harness on. And she's got the ball, of course. So there the harness is on. Now there was another one. This one where she's actually in the river. Is her actual harness on or off? Can't see. Can't see on that one whether the harness is on or off. Let's see. Let's see if we can find another one. Well, the harness is on there, but she's on the lead. I'm looking for that. The pictures of when she's. Here's one. Where is it? Oh, where did that disappear to? Yeah. See, here's one when she's. Look. Again, she's off the lead, but she's got the harness on. So Paul said it was common to take the harness off. It was common to take the harness off when they were when she took the lead off, because she could run off and go in the bushes and get caught on things in the harness. But there I've just found two pictures, and of course the ball's there as well that supposedly wasn't there. I think that the ball, I'm surprised the ball hasn't been mentioned. Let's see. Said the water. This is a picture, a piece about a wild swimmer who said the water is hard to get out of. Said it's a nice place to swim, but some parts of it are trickier to get out of than others. But I still don't think there's any evidence that she fell in there. So there, so you see, so there's a couple of pictures of Willow there. Which couple of pictures of Willow there where she does have the harness on. Paul said they take the harness off her when they take her off the lead. So are we all okay? Very mate. Well, yeah. Angela, no name is given to the man in black, but he was reported on. You know, he was given, he was mentioned in evidence. One of the witnesses said he'd seen him, and not only once, but twice. He'd seen him walking towards the area where Nicola was, and then he'd seen him coming back, and he thought he was waiting for a lift. And I was thinking, well, waiting for a lift in the middle of a field, you know, because I don't know exactly what point he saw him. But then, as the guy drove off, he said then he had disappeared by then. So no, he was never named, because as far as I know, they never even looked for him. And then Rebecca Smith said, in her opinion, there was no foul play because there was no sign of anybody who shouldn't have been there in the area at the time. But
That was literally just half an hour after one of the witnesses had said he saw a man in black. So yeah, it's well, that's right. You don't have to be a professional detective to know that if someone says there's a man in black and then two people hear screams, there's a possibility, maybe not definite, there's a possibility that some foul play has occurred. A possibility at least. Otherwise, why would the man in black have been seen? And where were the screams? Are they saying that she screamed as she fell in? I mean, what is he going to make of it all? Yeah, what is he going to make of, what is the coroner going to make of all this? You know, I don't think they interviewed Paul much. I'd want to, maybe we didn't get all the details there, but maybe I'll find out later when I get to talk to people who are there. Why didn't they interview people to see if Nicola was happy with Paul? What was going on with Paul? And that thing that was said that she'd gone to the hospital because she'd fallen over and banged her head. That is just a typical thing that women who are experiencing DV, they say they go to the hospital, they fell over, they walked into a door, all sorts of tripped over the dog. I suppose that's what they say, maybe that she tripped over the dog, which could have happened, I suppose, but there's no proof. There's no proof that that's what happened. So why did nobody interview Nicola's friends, like to see what the relationship was like between them? Was there any reason to believe that there was any domestic problems, that there was a, why was that not questioned? Gosh, I don't know. Well, I think we can safely assume that he's not going to come back and talk about the big S. But whether he's going to come back, I'm going to just message one of the people who did get in there today, and just see what they think. Let's see, where's it? Let's find their number. Hang on. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Gosh, that's a lot to chew over, isn't it? So I expect to be having his lunch and then he'll be thinking it all over unless he's already decided. Let me just see what they make of it. I think she's just actually, funny enough, she's just sending me a message as I've just sent that message off to her. I can see that she's typing a message. Yeah, maybe they had already. Well, they had, right from day one, hadn't they, David? The police had decided it was an accident. Yes, and that was the other thing. The retractable lead was still attached to the dog. That was evidence that was given yesterday. That because it was Anne-Marie Fletcher, wasn't it? She said when she tried to lead the dog off, at first she wouldn't come, but then she turned around, she saw that she had the retractable lead, and when she pulled on the lead, then the dog. So why? So it's not true about the harness. It's not true because I can't all be true, can it? So he's saying that he took the harness off. Take the lead off. You take the harness. We used to take the harness off. The lead was on. Right, I'm starting to get a bit annoyed about it all now. Yes, Silver Moon Warrior. Paul said they take the harness off because Willow got bushes and trees stuck in it. But we've got a picture right here. Oh, I've got to go. There's a photo right here of Willow off the lead with the harness on. And also the evidence that was given yesterday, the lead was still on the dog's collar. You know, so it's unbelievable. Hi, Jason. So unbelievable. Well, I'm saying that we've got to wait for the result, haven't we? So we'll see what he comes up with. To me, I don't know, if someone was presenting all that evidence to me, I still don't think there's evidence of anything. There's no evidence that there is, well, no, because she didn't have the harness on, Silver Moon. When they found the dog, at that Anne-Marie Fletcher, her testimony yesterday was that the harness was, well, Penny found the harness, didn't she, on the riverbank. And then Anne-Marie Fletcher said when she tried to get the dog to move, it still had the lead on it. The lead was dragging behind. What we've got to do then is after this, whatever happens, I mean, today it'll be about the result, won't it? What we've got to do is we've got to, after this, well, what I'm going to do anyway, I'm going to go back through all the, I'm glad that I've done these lives because all the information is there. And I'm going to go back through it all and do, a shorter video for each day, each bit of, and with the summary of it. And then depending on what Mr. Aidley comes back with now, then we'll, depending what he comes back with, then we'll take that and we'll see, well, what's the proof for it, whatever it is. We don't know what he's going to say yet. I think the only thing that we really do know is it won't be suicide. You think it will be 100% accidental death, but there's no proof that it was accidental death. Is there? How's he gonna say it's accidental death? Because you can't. You've still got to have proof, even for accidental death. You've still got to have proof that somebody, if you find somebody who was working on a roof and the ladder's on the floor and they're dead at the side of it, well, that's accidental death. But really, basically, what's happened here is Nicola's body was found 23 days later, despite the river being searched by so thoroughly, supposedly. So all these contradictions in this case. One minute the police telling us how thoroughly they searched everything, but they didn't find the body. Then there's the man in black. Then there's the screens. These are new things that we didn't even know about from before. So it's, well, we'll see what the result is first, Princess Tippy Toes, because he may come back with an open verdict, but it's not looking like that, is it? Because it looks like he was almost being directed towards that by the family. And I'm just wondering, is it because they just want it closed and finished? They just want it, they don't, if it was an open verdict. I'm just wondering what happens if it's an open verdict and then more evidence comes. What happens? Because, of course, this has happened many times, that people have been found to have died of accidental causes and then it's turned out to be something else. That does happen. I think for the family, or certainly for Nicola's parents, they just will want it to be known that it wasn't self-deletion. Yeah, can it be changed? It's not coming up. Let me see. They're probably terrified that he might find a verdict of self-deletion, but I don't think that's what it's going to be. All right, so the verdicts can be changed, they can be challenged, but let's see. So the family has a right to challenge a coroner's decision if they want to. And if a coroner agrees that there are reasonable grounds to change, so I presume if they find it's accidental death and then other things come out. Yeah, so it's not set in stone, but even so, well, there's not much we can do. We can only wait and see, can't we? We can only wait and see what decision is made. But I think there's quite a few anomalies there. But, you know, yeah, Jason, how are you? Not a live, perhaps. Perhaps we won't want to do a live, but it'd be nice to do a question and answer thing. You know, I could get all your questions that you wanted to put to him. We could do that, and he might feel more confident if it was in the Zoom call, first of all, because you know what? You know, you get idiots. Yeah. People even should never express suicide to me. Yeah, no slip marks on the ground. It feels more like she was pushed to me, to be honest, and the screaming the man in black sort of gives us that. Okay, so there you go. That's where we are. The coroner is assessing his verdict. Oh, right. So I've had a message through from the people that were there. Oh, so listen, this is the WhatsApp message I've had from the person that I know that was there at the trial this morning. Let me stop sharing this so that we can. This morning was so emotional. Louise was so brave, broke down 3 times, but she got through it. Paul was, well, Paul. He took his place to give evidence, put his arms folded on the bench in front of him, slouched forward, answering yeah instead of yes. But then he broke down and left the courtroom. 2 staff followed him. Then Louise went out after him, followed by Dot. He finished giving his evidence. Then Dot and Ernie gave evidence. Both broke down and Paul cried too. I looked around the gallery and everybody had poker faces except one girl at the back crying when Paul was talking. It was all very heartbreaking. So Paul did cry. So maybe we're doing him a misservice. Dot and Ernie are asking for accidental death. We've been let out until 1:45. Then it's just the official formalities. So let's go back to that. Louise broke down 3 times and got through it, but Paul started off, slouched down, answering yeah instead of yes, but then he broke down and left the courtroom. 2 staff followed him. Then Louise went out after him, followed by Dot. He finished giving his evidence. Then Dot and Ernie gave evidence. Both broke down. And Paul cried too. I looked around the gallery and everyone had poker faces except one girl at the back crying when Paul was talking. It was all very heartbreaking. So, what do you think of that? What do you think? Have we misjudged Paul? I don't know. Honest to God, I just have no clue about this case now. It's like, you know, yeah, that's a good idea. How do I do a poll? What to do a poll? Don't know how to do it. Don't know if I can do one on here. What's that? Yeah, I know there's a way that you can do a poll, but I can't see how to do it here on StreamYard. I know how to do it on yeah. So they're coming back at 1:45, which is 2:45 here in Spain. So we've got quite a big we've got quite a we've got time to go and have our lunch, etc. And see what happens. There's still so much, I don't think we know that much more, after the inquest now. Yeah, some people don't put themselves over, do they, Jason, in the right way, I suppose. But the only thing that I feel with Paul is, or one of the main things that I feel with Paul is, it's not just me who felt that, or just you, or whoever's watching this. There's so many people felt it. Normally, when people get these sort of feelings, there's normally, people can be upset even if they've murdered their partner or whatever. It doesn't mean to say necessarily they won't. That's the first time I've heard of him being upset. And I've watched people sort of who do get upset, but they've still done it. Because I think sometimes as well, what happens is in times when people have murdered their partners, men or women, it's normally like a breakup thing, isn't it? Because they can't cope with the fact they're going to leave them, or they've just had that, I'm not talking about planned murders here. I'm talking about, things that are just like, somebody just loses control. But they're still upset afterwards because they didn't, maybe they've had a volatile relationship. They didn't really want them to not be here anymore. So people do still get upset. But there's a lot of questions. Oh, Charlie. I'm okay. I'm going to get some lunch. And who's that you're talking about? He's a unique character who comes across very genuine, but he's just a unique character. Who's that? Yeah, well, we see what the coroner says and then see what happens from there. Gosh, we're all a bit shell-shocked, aren't we? I think I was more shell-shocked yesterday with the Men in Black and the screams. That really sort of struck with me, and I just don't know why. I don't know why we were never told that before, and I don't know why the Man in Black has never been found. Oh, talking about Paul. Yeah, he could be a bit Asperger's. Some people are, my brother, one of my brothers, of course, years ago when we were young, he didn't have these diagnoses then. But when we look back now, and even he will admit it, there is definitely something, you can't feel. I'm trying to think if I've ever actually seen him cry. No, my other brother, yes, his emotions very normal, except we're very normal. But I do have one brother who, but I think that's, maybe he's on the spectrum. Oh, thank you, David. I hope I'm not always nice, I can be nasty as well, but I try and be nice. I'm nice to nice people, put it that way. But I don't like nasty people. But normally I get annoyed with people when they're nasty, not so much to me, but when they're nasty to other people. Yeah, I think autism is much more common, isn't it, than we think. So I think and it's such a big spectrum.
as I say, years ago, there was just, just not discussed. Now, of course, there's so much more known about it. So, yes, you're right, Daisy Meadow. That woman who murdered her partner, and then she was like totally distraught. But of course, it was all a load of rubbish. But I think she was genuinely distraught because they'd had this very volatile, sometimes people have these relationships, don't they? And it is love, but it's a funny sort of love. It's like, and it's all like, it's either right up there or it's right down there. They love each other. Love and hate are so close. So sometimes people that argue a lot in their relationships, it's not that they don't care about each other. And if somebody kills someone just because they just lost it and went too far, I think quite often they're sorry afterwards. Yeah, I think there is I think there is a lot of yes, we should well, the police should have made a public request for the man in black. The man in black has completely sort of whatever comes out, whatever result this coroner gives, everybody's going to focus on the man in black because it's totally unexplained. You can't just say, there's a witness, a key witness that the police never found. And then Rebecca Smith just dismissed it and said there was nobody in the area who was suspicious. Who was the bloody man in black? It's... and the screams, I think the screams for me are... Because if she fell in, what do they say? It sounded like a surprised scream. I think if you sort of slipped, let's say, I suppose what they're thinking is that maybe she just lost her footing. Would you scream? Or would you? And then they said that she'd be dead within 20 seconds, so she wouldn't have had time to scream, would she? Oh, it doesn't add up. Yeah, I don't think the inquest has. I mean, it's explained some things to us, like the timeline, who the witnesses were, etc. But I don't think it's really given any answers as to what happened to Nikki. And then the Fitbit, oh God. So, yeah, we've got to sit and work on, we'll get the coroner's verdict later. And then what we'll be doing leading up to the weekend and everything is trying to make some summaries of all the evidence, etc. No, Jessie, the scream was heard at 9:30 in the morning. 9:30 in the morning, it was held by two people. The thing, Jason Rottweiler. The thing is with psychics, it's whether you believe in them or not, or whether I've met quite a few, I've been to quite a few, and as I've said before, I've been to some psychics that I thought were really good. It's like intuition. People, I do believe in another world, but I have also been to psychics who I thought were rubbish. But it's only like, being a psychic, it's like being a teacher or a plumber or anything, really. You'll get good ones and bad ones. Some are in tune, some are false, that's how it is in all walks of life. So I keep an open mind. I don't say that I don't believe. I keep an open mind to everything. And I have had some experiences myself, but I've had some experiences myself which have made me convinced that there is definitely more to. There's more things on heaven and earth, as they say, Horatio. We are spiritual beings living in a physical world. We have a spirit. Anyway. Okay. Yeah, Silver Moon Warrior, that particular thing I thought was an absolute load of rubbish, to be honest. You've got to be careful. Like people say ridiculous things, they get carried away sometimes, but
we live many lives. I believe that as well. And we're going on different levels. I think each time we come back onto this earth or whatever other earth we go on, we're always learning. There's a purpose to all our lives, and we're all on a journey, and we have to follow up. You know, if you believe in anything, one thing I've learned over my very long life is sometimes when you try and make something happen, it just doesn't happen. There is a path. And and sometimes you think, oh, I can't just go with that because it feels scary or it feels like it's not the right thing. But if you follow the way you're directed, things opened up. I could use this YouTube channel as an example. You know, I set up this, I've had a YouTube channels for Spanish and English for a long time. And then I've always been interested in true crime. And I got bored of making the Spanish and English videos, basically, because, you know, that's what I do all the time. And I wanted to do like some true crime videos or even videos about anything, like about ghosts or about psychics or anything I'm interested in. And I thought it doesn't really fit in on my Spanish English channel. So I started a new channel, which is this one, quite a while ago now. And then various things happened. Well, COVID was sort of one of them, and I did do more on my other channel, and then I had some personal problems that I just didn't have the time basically to do it. And then I started with it again this year, and obviously I made a video about Nicola early on, but I didn't know that it was going to turn into this sort of big thing. You know, it wasn't because it intrigued me right from the beginning, and that's how it started. My son, he'd been saying to me for a long time, you should do a true crime channel because that's what you're really interested in, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, no. And then sometimes you have to just go with your gut feeling and just do it, and things work out. Yes, yeah, I agree, Charlie. If the guy is still out there, you know, we don't know that he did anything. He's saying he could do it again. We don't even know if he did anything. He might literally have been there waiting for a lift and gone off. What our point is, we just don't know anything about him. So, no hablas español, David. Sprechen Sie Deutsche? Ich spreche ein bisschen Deutsche. Yeah. At the end of the day, there's too much violence against women. If this comes to nothing in that sense, is that it has highlighted the police failings, and it's brought attention to the menopause and to women, etc. So it's not bad in that, you know, at least it's done that. We just have to what's the word? We have to take the good out of every situation. You know, we're lucky in this moment. We only have this moment, don't we? That's mindfulness. This moment is all we have. We don't know. Yesterday's gone, as they say, and we don't know if we've got tomorrow. Look what happened with Nicola and her mum saying goodbye to her for the last time, but she didn't know it was the last time. So you just have to seize every moment you have, make the most of it, give your dog a cuddle, give your kids a cuddle, give your husband a cuddle or your wife a cuddle, whoever, you know. You've just got to make the best of everything, haven't you? Because, you know, you're lucky, really. There's a lot of people who haven't got that. You know, whatever you've got, if you've got food on the table, if you've got a roof over your head, you don't have to be rich. You just have to have the basics and, you know, everything you need. But he is funny. Anyway, I'm going. So ja, ich bin ganz fließend auf Deutsch. Yeah, I understood that. That's interesting. So I haven't spoken German for years, but I did understand that. I don't know if I could really speak it now. Okay, I'm waffling on now. So remember, I'm coming back at, what was it? It was 1:45. So it's 2:45 here. 1:45. Let me see. What time did she say? Because we don't want to miss any of that. I'll probably be here quite early for that. I've already put the link up for the afternoon session of the inquest, 1:45. So it's about an hour from now, okay? And the link is already up there, okay? We'll come back on the different link to get the verdict. So thank you so much. I'm sorry I had to leave you all for an hour, and thank you for holding the fort. And don't worry, any of you, if you think you were hacked, you weren't hacked. Your account was duplicate. Some, you know, very sad person who hasn't really got much else to do, and we have to feel sorry for them, because they've got to be pretty sad if you feel like that's how, you know, that's the entertainment for your day. We will see. Yeah, have a latte and a sandwich. I think that's more or less what I'm going to have. Okay, so I will see you later. I won't give the goodbye because I'll see you later anyway. Thanks so much. Remember the like, please. Yes, we're all blessed. Trish, I'm not as exhausted as yesterday. It's not quite as hot today as yesterday. But yeah, I'm going to go and have a little break. It's my voice that goes. Thank you. Enjoy your lunches too. Thank you.